अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद संगठन छात्र समाज चरित्र गति करी उद्यम करबा सहित राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा को गुरुत्व दे आसुछि बोली मुख्यमंत्री कहिथिले। केंद्र स्वराष्ट्र मंत्री अमित शाह आसंताकाली दुई दिनिया ओडिशा गस्तरे आसुछन्ति। संध्यारे से भुवनेश्वररे पहुंचिबा परे विभिन्न दलीय कार्यक्रम जोगदेबे बोली राज्य बीजेपी प्रभारी विजय सिंह सूचना दैछन्ति। परदिन डिसेंबर 29 तारिखरे श्रीयुक्त शाह आउ केतक सरकारी कार्यक्रम जोगदेबे भुवनेश्वर जिबार कार्यसूची रहिछि। राष्ट्रपति द्रौपदी मुर्मू गतकाली बाल दिवस पालन अवसରରେ 17 जन शिशुଙ୍କୁ प्रधानमନ୍ତ୍ରୀ राष्ट्रीय बाल पुरस्काରରେ सम्मानित କରିଛନ୍ତି। ଏହି ଅବସରରେ ସେ ଢେଙ୍କାନାଳ କ୍ରୀଡ଼ାବିତ ପ୍ରୀତିସ୍ମିତା ଭୋଇଙ୍କୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ପୁରସ୍କୃତ କରିଛନ୍ତି। ପ୍ରୀତିସ୍ମିତା ଭୋଇ ଜଣେ ବିଶ୍ୱପ୍ରସିଦ୍ଧ ଯୁବ ଉତ୍ତୋଳନକାରୀ। ନୂଆଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ପୁରସ୍କାର ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଥିବା ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ଅଭିନନ୍ଦନ ଜଣାଇ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରପତି କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଏହି ସଫଳତା ଦେଶର ସମସ୍ତ ନାଗରିକଙ୍କୁ ପ୍ରେରଣା ଯୋଗାଇବ। ଏଠାରେ ସୂଚନାଯୋଗ୍ୟ ଏହି ପୁରସ୍କାର କଳା, ସଂସ୍କୃତି, ସାହସିକତା, ନବସୃଜନ, ବିଜ୍ଞାନ ଏବଂ ପ୍ରଯୁକ୍ତି ବିଦ୍ୟା, ସାମାଜିକ ସେବା, କ୍ରୀଡ଼ା ଏବଂ ପରିବେଶ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ
राज्य विभिन्न स्थान में आसंता रविवार
अनुमान करा जाउछि। एबे आसंतु सुनिबा आजिर स्वास्थ्य बाणी। एथिरे सुनंतु डेंगू ज्वर कारण एवं सचेतनता संपर्क रे।
डेंगू ज्वर एक भूताणु जनित रोग। डेंगू ज्वर मुख्य वाहक हेउछि एडिस मशा। एडिस मशा को सहजरे चिन्हि हुए। एही मशा देखिबाकू कला। एडिस मशार देहरे गोड़रे एवं पिठीरे धड़ा धड़ा गार पड़ी थाए। यही मशा को बाघुआ मशा मध्य कुहा जाए। डेंगू ज्वर हेले हठात शीत लगी ज्वर आसे, आंठू गंठी दरज हुए, देह हाथ घोड़ा बिंधा हुए, बांती लगे। केतेक रोगी देहरे नाली नाली हुई फली जाए, मुंड बिंधे और आलुओ को अनाइबा कष्ट हुए। एणु अत्यधिक ज्वर आसिले रोगीर कपाଳରେ पानी पटी पकांतु एवं रोगीर देह को उदा तौलिया मुंड आड़ू तलू पुछि आणंतु। अति शीघ्र डाक्तरखाना रोगी को चिकित्सा करांतु। साधारणतः दीर्घ दिन धरी स्थिर और अपरिष्कार जल एडिस मशा अंडा दियंती। एथिप्रति सतर्क हुअन्तु। भंगा टीण, काच बोतल, लुहा पात्र, भंगा बाल्टी, डब्बा, सढ़ई, कटा पइड, ठोला, फुलकुंड, पुराणा टायर, कटा बाउंस आदि घर चारिपटे पकांतु नाही। कूलर भितर पानी जमिबाकू दियंतु नाही। पानी पात्र और छात उपर पानी टांकीर घोड़णी को भल भाबरे घोड़ाई रखंतु। मशा कामड़िबार रक्षा पाइबा पाई गड़, हाथ, देह लुचाइबा पोशाक पिंधंतु। दिन में शुईला बेले मध्य कीटनाशक औषध उपचारित मशारी टांगी शुअंतु। मशा निरोधी तेल यथा नीम और करंज तेल व्यवहार कले मशा देहरे बसंती नाही। मन रखंतु, डेंगू रोग पाई कोनोसी प्रतिषेधक टीका किंबा औषध नाही। केवल सचेतनता द्वारा ही डेंगू ज्वररू निजको सुरक्षित रखि परिबे।
एबे एक विशेष सूचना। आसंताकाली स्वास्थ्य बाणी सुनी पारिबे वृद्धा अवस्था स्वास्थ्य जत्न संपर्क रे। आजिर खबर को एठी रखुछु। नमस्कार।
I now request our guest, Professor Pratap Chandra Biswal sir, to deliver the lead lecture.
Good morning. Respected guests on the dais, and researchers from all over Odisha, from various universities and higher education institutions. Let me first express my gratitude and thanks to Vice Chancellor of Fakir Mohan University, Professor Santosh Tripathi, giving me this opportunity and inviting me to speak on this occasion. And let me tell you one thing. So when I reached here, so I got to know, because when I looked at the schedule earlier, till I traveled this morning from Bhubaneswar, so there are actually the two speakers of this session. So the theme of this session is about contemporary research in
नेट स्लो के अंदर की यूज
conservation.
कर दी हो रही है
So my talk, which will be very brief, but probably would be slightly will deviate from the topic or theme of the session. Not exactly, even not I am not a great researcher. Fine. So I basically come from economics background. I am a student of Bhadra College, actually the graduation economics. Come from actually the economics background and moved to the business schools. Fine. And became the professor. Now I am just holding the director position of one of the business schools, International Management Institute in Bhubaneswar. I am not a good researcher as such, but let me tell you, what I am going to speak will be largely from my experience of a professor who is doing the research, as an administrator, as the dean research, as the dean actually as the currently director, what I have experienced research in various, specifically what I speak would be largely relating to the management, right? Not as such the science or any other actually stream as such. Please actually bear with me for that and excuse me also for that aspect of it. Before I start, let me tell you just a disclaimer. Whatever I speak is my personal view, not necessarily reflects the view of the organization I belong to. Here comes just, I'll just take 1 minute probably to read out something which is very relevant for the theme of today's actually the discussion. And this is something, one of the news items of 10th April 2024, Times of India, which reads like this. This year, 69 Indian universities secured positions in the rankings, contributing to a total of 424 entries, marking a substantial 19.4% increase from the previous year, according to the QS World Rankings, University Rankings. So that's what it is. It definitely a very positive actual news about. It talks about representation of the Indian universities in one of the very well-known international rankings, QS ranking. Impressively, 72% of Indian entries showed improvement, maintained their positions, or were new additions, reflecting a positive trend within India's overall performance, demonstrating a notable 17% year-on-year improvement. So this is something very positive, encouraging news about Indian higher education institutions and the universities, right? Which is talking about the rankings. As all of us know, one of the important parameters of any ranking or the accreditations we talk about, research becomes actually the very, very prominent in that. That's the one part of it. Then let me take you, other one is talking, yes. So India ranks as the 4th largest producer of academic papers behind China, the United States and the United Kingdom as per the QS report. So India is the 4th largest, right, contributor to the academic publications and the research, and India's research output surged 54% from 2017 to 2022 period, making it one of the fastest growing research centers globally. That's all from this actually the news item which was published in Times of India 10th of April 2024. So that becomes actually the starting point of my the talk today. It is definitely it's a very encouraging news. It talks about the growth of India so far as actually the scientific publication is concerned. It talks about how the various higher education institutions are appearing in the top, actually the competing among the top actually institutions in the world, higher institutions in the world. Here comes one of the things. See, there are benefits. There are perceived benefits and there are visible benefits also we see of the research outputs or the research papers and the publications also that we see. But what about unintended consequences of publication? That would be one part of my talk today, which is not only, of course, we focus on one part of the benefits and the perceived benefits of the research output or the publication. Specifically, my focus is on the publications because the major part of it, what I am going to talk about, somewhere we need to draw a difference between, somewhere we need to understand a difference between research and the publications, right? So that's what is, so what are the unintended consequences of publications or the academic actually publications, what we do? There are research papers, there are books, research books available which talk about perceived benefits of the research publication as well as the unintended consequences of that. Yes, my first point is because of this competition, because of these rankings, because of these actually the things, definitely they are required, they are actually there, very much there, whether it is national rankings or the international rankings. Let's look at it. What are they trying to promote? Are they actually, we need to actually understand, get really into it, try to understand. It's what was the benefit, what was the intention, what was the objective of having. It was about promoting the research, it was about developing a culture of the research, it was about actually doing some kind of serious scientific research which leads to something, right? Useful consequences, which leads to something visible output or outcome for the society or for the businesses or for the country or for the world. But unfortunately, what has happened over the period, I know that I am also the director of one of the institutions, business schools in India, and as I said, what I have been experiencing it, unfortunate part of it, we have equated both these things, research with the publications. It's not that they're absolutely different from each other, but they're exactly not the same also, right? So what has happened is, we have adopted the policy or a norm of publish or perish. So what has happened actually? What has been the unintended actually the consequence of the publish and perish? Because since many of the actually the higher education institutions started following the idea of publish or perish, young researchers, even for actually the existing faculty members from various higher education institutions, start following publishing. Just look at it, are we really getting into the research as such? So, see, when you think about that publishing is leading to some kind of unhealthy competition, leading to some kind of networking, leading to something called the gamification of the research or the publication worldwide. So that is led to, right? So world started actually realizing, so it's not that though number of publications increasing, not necessarily the number of publications what we bring out and the publish, all of them are useful, all of them are actually the bringing in something useful consequences for the education, country, society or business, right? So that's not actually happening. So that gamification of the publication, something, what my here would be suggestion, yes, rankings and accreditation, definitely focusing on the research. Here research does not mean the publication only. The research should be a process, research should be something long run, research should be something which comes from the within, research should be something which should be actually the followed actually the process, and probably the outcome of it would come out to definitely, if we follow a proper process of doing the research, outcome of it definitely will be the very good and impactful publications, no doubt about it. That's for the dissemination of the knowledge. That's for the actually whatever outcome of our research, the world to know outside actually the people to know about. So what actually the research outcome of what we are doing. So that is something which is not very healthy, which is something not a very good trend to follow. If this is what we as higher education institutions, my special actually the request to the researchers, specifically young researchers, start actually the looking at differentiating between publication and the research. If we follow that, that's not leading to actually the right kind of research culture what we are trying to build. That's the first thing of it. The second part of it, when it comes to the research, question comes whenever we discuss about it, multiple times question comes to me, and even from various faculty members, from various researchers. So can you suggest us the better alternative of measuring the quality? Because everybody talks about there are qualitative parameters to assess the research output or the publications. We have the rankings, we have the impact factors, we have various actually the ratings available for the research output or the publications. But let's reflect, are they really reflecting? Fine. Are they really talking impact factor? Is it actually something, an impact factor is really talking something about the quality of the research what we intend to actually do? Fine. So that probably if we start, alright, publish and perish or start actually the publishing actually the A class, A star, FT50 in a management we talk about, fine. Or in the UT dollars category of the research what we talk about, let's actually publish it. But at some point what we are ignoring, what about the practice? How much of it is actually going to be, it's not that actually if it comes to the management circle they come out, how much of it is being practiced in the business, but in the general category actually the parallels I am talking about, how much of our research going to the practice, whether it is in the business, whether it is in the society or for that matter for a country. So is this not our responsibility? Is this not our role to ask the question, if we are doing a research, there are a lot of supports from the regulator side, there are a lot of support from the government side, there are a lot of support from the university side, or there are a lot of support from the institution side. If we are utilizing that and doing a research leading to a publication, so is this not something we should not ask ourselves, what is the use of it? How much of it is being practiced? How many of the researchers or the academicians or the practitioners reading our research output? So if we start asking ourselves those questions, probably I think it will lead to a better research work, it will lead to a better research culture, it will lead to a better research output, not necessarily only the publications, fine? Then it takes actually to the idea of when we are actually talking about this research and whatever actually is happening is something academics and the scientific community of the research has been debating, talking about research should be rigorous. Some segment is talking about rigor, actually the rigorous research will not be useful for the practitioners. So then there was a discussion, debate about research should be relevant, right? So then it comes, is it enough if we think about a rigorous research, think about actually relevant, ignore the rigor? So can it be actually the only relevant? So according to me, this is my not necessarily true or not necessarily actually the reflecting view of this. According to me, research has to be both rigorous as well as actually relevant, and it should adopt very ethical practices and it should follow ethical practice to do the research. What I am trying to say, research should be responsible. So when I am saying the research should be responsible research, so I am putting three things together. I am saying the research work should be rigorous, research work should be relevant, which should be useful for the practice, and at the same time, when we do the research, we must follow the practices, so which should be very, very ethical. Because that's the reason I was just reading, recently I was reading one of the research papers published in Academy of Management in 2024. Very interestingly, some of the researchable terms, terminologies already developed. They are called ghost authors, right? So they are called ghost authors, they are called gift authors, right? So when the researchers start thinking about it, if there is a concept which is researched and this terminology is well established, empirical findings are there justifying, there are large number of gift authors available, there are ghost authors available. For at least some of you, if you don't know exactly what is the gift author is something, so someone who is really not contributing anything substantial to the research work, we try to keep his or her name as a part of the research work as the author, just to actually do some favor, fine, or expect some favor in return. Fine, they are called the gift author. And that research paper talks, doing a survey of more than 1,000 researchers world over, and it is empirically proved there are gift authors available. Fine, it's significant actually that established. Similarly, ghost authors. Ghost author is a most serious actually thing to actually look at it. What is actually the ghost author for that mean? There are researchers available. There are people available. Those who are doing the research are ready to sell it to the others to publish. And unfortunately, that's happening. There are people, those who are buying the PhDs. So I want to do a PhD, I want to actually be a doctor, right? So our doctorate actually is my name, so that I have no time probably, or I am not interested, or probably I don't have that much of actually the skills to write one dissertation and get the actual doctoral degree. There are ghost authors available. Those who do the research work at some price actually sell it to the author. Fine. And that research paper is also talking about there are 23% of the research works worldwide. What is happening is when research paper is submitted for the first actual review, once someone is the author, but once the paper is accepted, name of the author is changing. They are also saying this is something the practice of the ghost authorship. Fine. So someone is actually following the process, writing the research paper, submitting, doing all the review, actually the comments, taking care of it. Once the research paper is accepted, then name of the author changes, or some other actual authors are being added to that. So just imagine, are we really doing the right thing by blindly adopting the practice of, I'm just actually talking about leaders of the higher education institution, the publish and perish. Is publication everything? Can we difference between research and publication? If we practice actually the norm of publish and perish, we would probably see this. And that's something actually there will see development of this kind of the practices which is not necessarily good for the research, which is not necessarily good for the country, which is not necessarily good for the practice. Fine. That's what I am talking about, unintended consequences of following blindly a culture of or norm of publish or perish. Alright, that's actually the one aspect of it. So that's the reason the answer should be, let's actually look at the research from the responsible research point of view. So try to do the research, probably the offshoots and outcomes of the research, follow the projects, take it as a long term. If we talk about Western countries, we talk about blindly we are following, which we are not supposed to do that, but even if we are doing it, but we are doing half-heartedly, we are not doing completely. Look at many of the Western, the good universities, what happens. There are research centers, there are the research, the excellence, centers of excellence are established. They have been there, they are funded. Corporates are there, organizations are there, regulators are there, governments are there supporting the research work. So there are professors, the researchers and the scholars involved in the research in the long run. What comes out of that research work in the long run? So here again and again they pick a thread, completely actually into it, continue doing the work, some outcomes of it will come out of the publications. That's for the dissemination of knowledge. Fine. So that should be the actual practice probably. That should be something, that should be something that in the future we need to look at it. Fine. As the leaders of the higher education institutions, as well as the researchers. Fine. And the next thing is very interesting actually the part. Again, something many of you actually must have seen. Now, when it comes to publications, What's happening? Don't you think in a finance we have a concept called arbitrage? You know, arbitrage is something called no risk profit. When you make profit without taking any risk, otherwise there is no free lunch, it is called, fine? So more so in finance, there is no free lunch. You don't get any return, no profit without actually any kind of the cost of the investment. But there is a concept called arbitrage which says if you can make the profit without actually taking any risk, that's called arbitrage. That exactly I see in publication business. There are publication houses worldwide available, whether you have Elsevier, whether you have the other Wiley and other publication houses, they have exploited that gap very well, that arbitrage very well. They are making no risk profit. Where is the arbitrage? Let me tell you one thing. In scientific, actually the community, what we talk about, researchers we talk about, whoever creates a knowledge, whoever creates a patent, whoever creates actually any kind of scientific invention or the thing should get the reward for it, yes or no? That's what we talk about. So creator of the knowledge, creator of the actually the inventor of the any particular actually the thing should get the reward for it, fine. If it is not happening, that's something not the efficient system itself. Don't you think and actually the publication, that's what is happening? What is happening? A researcher is, fine, other aspect of the, what quality of the research, let's actually look at it. But whatever researcher is doing, researcher writes, spends time, gets the data, does the research work, develops after the research paper, sends it for the publication. What happens? Publishers ask the money. Publishers ask submission fee or open access fee, in various different actually the ways they are asking. So creator of the knowledge has to pay to outside to read the actually the knowledge. This is something very interesting, very something kind of surprising to see in this world. The creator of knowledge is forced to make the payment. He has created the knowledge and paying the actually for it so that world will get to know about it. That is what I call is arbitrage. That arbitrage benefit is being taken by the publishers, what we have the big publishing houses world over. So what they are doing it, they are taking care, they are not taking any risk of it. Are they creating the knowledge? No. They are just the platforms. Are they adding any significant value to it? I doubt. Fine. Who are the reviewers? We are only the reviewers. How many reviewers are paid substantially? Not much. So you look at it, so they have identified that gap very well, which is called business proposition. So they have identified that gap very well. The creator of knowledge is not paid. User of the knowledge is also not is supposed to pay. Anyone who wants to read will also pay for it. Whoever is in the process is adding some value to it. What we call the reviewers, not required. More after the debates, after discussions required about. Yes, research is definitely very, very well actually the required for the higher education institutions, for the society, for actually the country, for the businesses. But what we are not doing exactly, I'm sorry for that. If you actually some of you might get after the might have some actually the different views about it. But my actually the view about it that exactly we are not doing the research. It's not I'm saying that 100% of it, no. Substantial part of it is not the serious research happening. It's about we are just changing the publications. And excuse me for talking this in a platform like this. To me, we need to be very careful. Are we really adding to the academic waste? Fine. We need to be careful. Think about, are we really adding something substantially useful, or it is something adding to the academic waste we are creating, which probably in the long run, contextualize it, publish, then move to some other, you found some other interesting paper tomorrow, contextualize it, either in terms of the data, in terms of the country, or in terms of the sector, and publish one more. This is where we cannot have serious research. Probably we cannot have the Nobel laureates coming out of our country as the researchers, unless and until we pick a particular thread, start actually getting into it, deep into it, definitely after some time you will see the publications coming out of it. That too qualitative publications, that too very relevant publications will be rigorous. You will have the readers to read about it. Not that what we publish will be read by two people, one by the author, other one by the reviewer. Fine. So that's what is happening. Fine. So with these words, I am not actually going further into it, and let me actually stop here, talking about what it's not exactly the contemporary research, as I said. It little actually so deviation from there is talking about what exactly happening is the name of the research. Fine. What's happening in the publications. So as the higher education institution, it is our responsibility to deliberate, discuss, and try to promote the culture of research, and try to promote and bring in the responsible research in India. Fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful deliberation, and definitely whatever you told, that research should be rigorous, it should be relevant, it should be ethical. Thank you, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and delivering your wonderful words in this Odisha Research Conclave 2024. I now request Professor Padmalita Rautar Madam to give her concluding remarks.
Thank you, Rajashree. I appreciate Professor Biswal for introducing a new thing when we talk about sustainability. He said something about sustainable research and developing sustainable research culture. Even though lot of research work are published and India ranking is improving, but we should focus not just perceived benefit of research while doing the research, but always thinking of visible benefit of research, and should refrain ourselves from unhealthy competition and networking because that only lead to publication, but not in true sense involving people in substantial and original research. Our research should focus something on long-term outcome and usefulness, and that's why the research should be responsible research having rigor, relevance, and ethics. And I underline the term ethics because ethical research is actually the meaningful research. The research should lead to practice. I always agree that we may be having a high impact factor paper, it may be read in academic community, but I have interacted with many industry personnel. Very few of them actually utilize the outcome of the research in actual practice. And it has twofold practice. One is practice which is relevant for the society, should be in form of policy and implementing the same policy for betterment of the society, and other for betterment of the business and upgradation of industry practices because of the research. So it is a two-way process. Practice should be questioned by the researcher, and research should be done on that, and research should lead to practice. It is a two-way process, then only it can lead to positive consequence. Another thing which we are going to focus, which were told that whenever we are doing research, it should be value addition, and that's why we can create some kind of center of excellence focusing on one area of research where it should be done on longitudinal basis. Here I will share one of my experience with Professor Biswal. While I was taking some of the training session in PHC in Chandipur, the part of DRDO organization, I was taking some of the training sessions for 2-3 years consecutively. Then I found that some of the lacuna. Then I suggested that can I give a project proposal for evaluating the training effectiveness, and they added another term on also on the competency mapping. And the outcome of the research is very useful and beautiful, and they have implemented all the leaders and the team members engaged in that kind of research work are really benefited, and they have incorporated the same thing in their policy making process, and basically that focus on that whether the training is creating some kind of outcome in terms of implementation, improvement and innovation. And our research identified that most of the training program have giving higher benefit in terms of just implementation and little lesser in improvement and more lesser in innovation. And that's why the training program should focus more on having innovation, and that's why they started more focusing on more collaboration, and the training program should also lead to having more kind of innovation. So that helped a lot, and we have not published that document because we are doing a longitudinal research, and we are just adding more outcome of the more training programs and seeing that whatever model we have developed, whether how it is working with the new set of the data. So in that way, we can also do many more such kind of research that will help us more. And what sir focused last, that what we are doing, that we are reading an Western article and we want to find out that same thing we want to apply in our own context, a little bit adaptation we are doing, and having a new sets of data and testing. But original research has to be done, and many times I also found that when PhD scholars are there, they found it very convenient that where more literatures are available, they will just add more number of variable to it and create a new model and do the research, which have lesser relevance. We should focus more on exploratory, more qualitative research, then we should go for more quantitative research. That should be our focus. And I hope that this session is not just a management focused session, it is a session which can be an eye-opener to many more researchers across the discipline who are present here, that they should adhere sustainability in their research, where the focus should be on long term, and they should adhere more into the ethics when they are having this kind of research. Rajashree, can we have one question answer session? Yes. Sir, can we have a question answer for 1-2 questions? Yeah, anybody having some relevant questions can put to our esteemed speaker, because we have 3-4 minutes. We can continue with that. Thank you. Volunteers, please take the mic, and those who want to ask any question can put the mic to the participant.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. Pratap sir, for your lecture. I am Professor Arun Acharya from Sambalpur University. I am heading one center of excellence, that is Regional Development and Travel Studies. I agree with your opinion that we should go for more quality research than the number of research. But this is my personal opinion. But if you see in India, currently we have the NAAC accreditation. Then we have international agencies. They are ranking the universities, and these kind of things are pushing to the researchers to have the number of publications. And the second one is, when you have a project from any international agencies or the national agencies, they are looking at how many publications you are having during your research periods. So that's why I think many researchers in India know that they are practicing having the number of publications than having the quality of research. And the second point is that, I spent many times in abroad, and after returning to the India, I have seen, there is a big gap between the academic and the government agencies. Many times you have the research, but the government agencies, they are not taking interest of that one. Suppose, for example, when the ICSSR in social science, every year they are funding, a lot of projects. But how many projects the ICSSR they are taking into consideration for the implementation of the policies? So I think, we need to work from both sides, how the academia and the government agency, they should work closely. It is not the duty of the government to have the projects, to finance the project. Or it is not the duty of the academia to have the bulk of publications. So I think they need to sit together and have, if they are financing the projects, that kind of culture you can find in US, in European nations. No? That when you have a project, they are taking seriously those projects for the implementation of the policies. I think that if you are not, well, in India we have, but if you are belonging to a big institution like JNU or in a ICSSR organization, they are taking. But suppose the universities or small institutions, they are also doing the good research. I think that, we need to work in, that culture we need to develop, in the academia and the government agencies. Thank you very much.
All right. Shiva, thanks for actually the other questions. Let me actually start your first one is largely, if I understood you correctly, it is about, yes, ranking and accreditation board. The giving importance and the research is one of the rather it's a publication. The 30% and you have the different categories buying. So 12%, which is 40% of the 30% goes to the number, 40% of the 30% which is overall 12% goes to the quality, which is again based on the impact factor, which can be gamified, and which is what exactly happening, right? So that's also 30% of the 40% of the overall 30%. Then what remains is just 20% of these 30%, which is 6% total, is about research projects or consulting projects or some kind of the sponsored research, right? If someone, any of the government or anyone after the link to the NRF, I would definitely request saying we need to relook at that particular parameter. So that is definitely, that's what is leading to, I don't know what happened, but definitely not leading to the serious research, because many institutions, NIRF is emerging is one of the prominent rankings, and which is rightly so, should be, and probably we have the objective to take it international, fine. So it's happening, it's a good thing to see happening, but it is just something around 10-12 years old maybe, so it's emerging, evolving, will be mature over the period. Your parameters should also the reformed over the period, but yes, that is there, which is looking at the publication. That's the reason I said this is our responsibility, joint responsibility. The agencies, those who are actually formulating the policies, leaders of the higher education institutions, those are also the part of the formulation of the policies and the implementation of part of it. We need to deliberate and debate, is this something sustainable? Is this something we want to bring in? Right? Is it something research what we are actually trying to do? Alright. So, yes, so I am not pointing fingers anywhere, but what my only request is, and my only actually the suggestion is the country, the higher education institutions, we need to relook and try to develop a research, sustainable research culture. What I said is the responsible research, which would not be necessarily, it is not either or, it is both, fine? Rigor as well as the relevant and responsible, bringing an ethical aspect to it, fine? So that is there. But don't you think it's the researchers also? Fine? So there is a policy, always we try to find out of that policy where is actually the loophole of that policy to exploit. Right? So as the researchers, I am also requesting, we need to see, yes, publication is actually something now looked at, but that publication, as I said, can be achieved by doing good research. Doing a serious research, outcome of that will be the publication. Not that let's target the publication part. What is happening exactly nowadays? We target the journal, then we design our research question, then we design our research structure, then send it to that. Is this the right something we are thinking about? Is this research? Is this something research what we thought about? Is this research something even NIRF or any government agency is seriously actually looking at? No. So it's not that I'm not blaming anyone, but what I am saying, yes, exactly that unfortunately it's happening. It's a joint responsibility. We need to actually look at how to get out of it, break that jinx, get out of it, and let's focus on more research. Publications will happen. No, nothing. No doubt about it. But let's not contextualize everything and go ahead and actually try to actually publish. Fine. So that's what is actually my thing, and I still actually stick to that. Coming to the second point, my straight answer is I have no comment on that. It's talking about ICSSR and others, what they promote. That's a very specific actually the issues about it. But I have no specific actually the comment response to that. But as the researchers again, whether it is a sponsored research or not, what I am saying, it has to be research project based. Think about a long term. Think about something, pursuing a research, pick a thread, start getting deep into it, fine. Continue doing that for some time rather than jumping from one to other, contextualizing and publishing. That's what I said. Whether it is actually any of the organizations supported, backed by the government or any other actually multilateral body, you get the sponsored research, well and good. Even if that's not there, at the individual researchers, pick a thread, keep actually focusing on that. That will take you far. That is something research, and it will lead to definitely publications, no doubt about it. All right. So thank you. Any other? Yes, sir. I think.
Yeah, I'm a little bit off from this commerce and business. I am from physics background, retired professor of physics at Utkal University. But on the research aspect, I would like to just point out that evaluation of a researcher should not be based only on the numbers, as my friend there pointed out, because of the NAC pressure and this pressure, that pressure, number of publications. Another aspect you said is the impact factor journals, high impact factor journals. You also pointed out a very relevant aspect. Many of the papers, even if it is published in high impact factor journals, is read by the author and the reviewer, nobody else. So what really matters is how many people read your paper. And that is called cite your paper in their research. That's citation index. So somewhere, citation index should be a more important parameter compared to number of publications or impact factor journals. That's all I would like to say. This, one is to find out how many times a paper has been cited in different references. That's easily available, accessible, right?
100% agree, sir. But still, citation is not also a foolproof parameter of the quality. That's what I feel. Because the way nowadays you see the research is going in terms of the review or bibliometric and other ways, that's where a technique or a tool or a software is doing the citation work. It's not the researcher is reading, it's the tool who is reading all the papers available in one particular subject and coming out with a summary, and we just have a look at it and send it out for the publication. So citation, yes, of course, was one of the parameters reflecting the quality of the research work, academic research work, scientific research work, but it is still not actually the foolproof one. That's where, why don't we think, is India as a country coming up and trying to see what would be the best parameter to assess the quality of the research work? Why can't we develop that? Why should we always look at the ways they have given impact factor, they have said something about citation. As NIRF is emerging one of the rankings, and I am sure the 5 years, 10 years down the line you will see it is going international. So when this is what is happening, why don't we look at as the leaders of the education, higher education, coming out with one very foolproof, which will probably to large extent eliminate this kind of the gamification that reflects the quality of the research. Fine. 100% sir, I agree, but still it is not actually the foolproof. Fine. So that also can be gamified, which is what exactly is happening.
Sir, I require a clarification. the clarification is
Sir, this is
Very,
the last
very-
question we'll take up
Yes.
from sir.
very easily and very simply you said, picking up a thread. Picking up a thread is not just taking a cup of tea. It requires enough effort. How to locate a gap area? The basic deficiency is even the review of literature, if it is done properly, survey of literature, if it is done properly, then a scholar will be able to identify what are the gap areas which needs to be researched further. So picking up a thread is more an act of imagination coupled with going through the existing literatures on this. What is the greatest deficiencies is even there is no proper review of literature available on the topic. So therefore, my point is simple. We cannot put all the eggs into one basket because the research is always under probation. There is no finality to research. Types of research are varied and things of that sort. But the point because I have seen the poster competitions yesterday, I covered nearly 100 there. But one thing deplorable is the scholar does not know what are the literatures available in the topic that I have done. So this is a vacuum area. To write to talk of a problem is not so easy. To identify a problem is not so easy. To put a right question is not so easy. It requires pre-preparation. And what is the deficiency among us is that we do not go through adequately, properly understanding doing the review of literature, enabling us to identify a gap area. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, so let me, sir, understood your question, yes. What I said is, okay, one liner was pick up the thread and continue doing the research, that's fine. Sir, I have actually slightly a different opinion about what you say. Yes. Why is there only one way to arrive at the research gap, which is do the review of literature and find out where is the gap? There are multiple ways of actually getting the research gap also. Why do you understand the gap means for something? I'm just walking on the road, there may be a problem there. When I look at a problem and try to find a solution, that's the objective of the research. So point here is what always as the researchers we are thinking at it has been there. That's fine. Fine. So yes, that is always do the review of literature. I have seen, sir, I have been all through in academics. I have also experienced this one. One of my the research scholars, we took 2 hours to arrive at the research gap. Because interesting thing, she came with a problem first. Then we started looking at the review of literature so that we justify there is a gap in the literature. So that took 1.5 hours for us. That's not the practice happening there. That's also some of the journals look at it. But not the practitioners journals look at it. Practitioners journals you look at it. If there is a problem, when you see whether the problem is a business problem, it is a societal problem, it is actually the classroom problem, or it is when the people are serving here tea also there is a problem. That becomes the gap. Let's try to address, let's try to work on it, do the research and address it. But unfortunately, good journals will not accept as it is. That's what I also exactly said. But doing the review and arriving at the gap is not the objective. Our objective should be, gap is nothing but actually there's a problem where what we see, problem area, the gap area, try to address actually through the research. So that is done, also can be, yes, find out a problem, you have interest in that, then actually start following up it. To send it for the publication, even for the dissertations also, reviewer will ask for, where is the review of literature chapter in it? So that's where I see the researchers or the scholars, they start to do they know what exactly is the problem. I have seen some of the very intelligent scholars coming and telling, the very first day itself they went into the room, they know what the problem they are trying to do, they are trying to address. But as the academicians, we tell them, Baba, you have to do the review of literature. Read some research papers and try to come out with a framework which would show that conceptual framework, here is the research gap, then we'll start pursuing it. That's what is happening. But still what I am saying, doing the review of literature is not the only way. There are multiple ways of arriving at the research gap. Fine? Alright, thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir,
One
for a
question.
wonderful deliberation. Sorry to interrupt. We have Secretary Higher Education with us, so we need to close.
Yes.
Just one question. Sir,
with us, so we need to close this session. I request esteemed Vice Chancellor of Berhampur University, Professor Gitanjali Das Madam, to please felicitate Professor Pratap Chandra Biswal sir. Madam, please. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for delivering the lead lecture, and thank you, Padmalita madam, for coordinating this session. Thank you, thank you. And we'll shortly begin our next session. Our Secretary Higher Education, Sri Arvind Agarwal sir, is here with us.
Good morning, one and all. May I request all the esteemed members, dignitaries, students and participants to kindly be settled down. Namaskar. I, Dr. Sasmita Raut, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Geography, on the behalf of Fakir Mohan University and Odisha State Higher Education Council, welcomes all the dignitaries, participants, faculty members, students, research scholars, and media personnel to the Technical Session 5, Roundtable Discussion 2. The theme of the session is Research and Development in Science and Technology for Higher Education System. As we know, Odisha. His leadership emphasizes institutional reforms, enhancement of educational infrastructure, and the promotion of equitable opportunities to higher education system. We welcome you, sir, to the desk. Next, we have Professor Madhumita Das, Madam Vice Chancellor, former Vice Chancellor, Fakir Mohan University. I request you, Madam, kindly grace us on this. Professor Das, a renowned academician, a specialist in igneous petrology, industrial minerals, and environmental geology. She has published over 120 research papers, and she was also a German Academic Exchange Service Fellow. Professor Das has made significant contributions to geological sciences and higher education in India. We welcome you, Madam, to this. May I now invite Professor Uma Charana Mahanti, panelist. Sir, kindly grace us on this. Professor Mahanti is an eminent Indian meteorologist and an emeritus professor at School of Earth and Ocean and Climatic Sciences of India Institute of Technology, Bhubaneswar. He is the president of Odisha Vigyan Academy and is also known for his researches on numerical weather prediction, monsoon dynamics, climate modeling, and tropical meteorology. Professor Mahanti is a Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Prize winner and Fellow of Indian Academy of Sciences, Fellow of National Academy of Sciences, Fellow of Indian Meteorological Society, Fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering, and Fellow of Indian Geophysical Union. He has published more than 250 articles in different reputed journals. We welcome you, sir. Now, I request Professor Ashok Kumar Ganguly to grace us on the dais. Professor Ganguly is the director of the Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Berhampur. Professor Ganguly is a respected figure in the field of nanomaterial, electrocatalysts and photocatalysts. He has published over 350 papers and has filed 5 patents. He is a recipient of National Award of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology given by DST, Government of India, the Chemical Research Society of India, Silver Medal, the Materials Research Society of India Medal, and the CNR Rao CRSI National Award, and many more. We welcome you, sir, to the desk. Next, I'm honored to invite Dr. Basant Kumar Das, panelist, to kindly grace us on the desk. Dr. Das is a distinguished scientist and academician who currently serves as the director of the Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture in Kolkata. With an extensive background in fisheries science and aquaculture, Dr. Das has made significant contributions to the development and advancement of freshwater aquaculture practices in India. He received numbers of international awards, holding numbers of patents and more than 300 high impact factor publications. We welcome you, sir. Now it's time to invite Dr. K. Suchender, panelist, to kindly grace us on the dais. Sri Suchender is the director of the Integrated Test Range ITR in Baleshwar, Odisha. With a strong background in defense technology, missile systems, and aerospace engineering, Sri Suchendra has played a critical role in the development, testing, and operationalization of cutting-edge missile systems and defense technologies in India. He holds a significant experience and contributions in the Indian space and defense sector, particularly in missile testing, systems engineering, and strategic defense projects. We welcome you, sir. May I now invite Professor Ashish Kumar Mahanti, panelist, to kindly address us on the dais. Professor Ashish Kumar Mahanti is the Secretary of the ODISHA Vigyan Academy. With over 33 years as faculty at OUAT, he also served as an associate NCC officer and earned several prestigious awards. He is passionate about promoting science education and community service, including his work with the National Children's Science Congress and Snake Helpline. We welcome you, sir, to the dais. May I now request Dr. J.K. Sundarai, Director in charge SIFA, to kindly grace us on the dais. I also invite Director in charge ZSI, Dr. Anil Mahapatra sir, to kindly grace us on the dais.
I invite Professor Chitta Varala, Professor of Mathematics from Arizona University, US, to come to the dais.
Moving on, I request Sri Arvind Agarwal, Commissioner cum Secretary, Higher Education Department, sir, to kindly chair the session. Also, I request Professor Madhumita Das, former Vice Chancellor, Fakir Mohan University, to co-chair the session. Over to you, sir and madam. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome all the participants. On behalf of the government and also from FM University, we welcome all to this discussion. We can start the discussion. I'm not read also.
With the due permission from the chairperson of the session, I now request Professor Umacharan Mahanti to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Very good morning to all of you on the dais and off the dais. At the first outset, I really congratulate this type of activity that Odisha we are organizing, because we have many conclaves, sports conclave, cultural conclave, but science and technology conclave are only few places. And we are perhaps one of the lead in that respect. So that's why I congratulate the higher education as well as Vice Chancellor for all the universities and for holding such type of activity where I was so much impressed that our young researchers, they come together from different universities in our state and showcase their results and excited to interact with the eminent personalities. They are visiting this place, and I think this is very unique in my way of thinking. Then now I want to tell some aspects of research. Of course, actually, we are very eminent persons from physics, chemistry, botany, zoology, and geology, and so on. But I feel one area which we are very much neglecting, so to say, because Odisha is a gateway of natural hazards, particularly hydrometeorological hazards. That is tropical cyclones, thunderstorms and lightning, heat waves, heavy rainfall leading to floods and droughts and so on, many aspects, starting from we call dust devil to that of very large system cycle droughts. But really we are not focusing much attention in university level in that area, because once we want an integrated development of our society, I feel one of the signs for the society, if we think, that is from starting from a beggar in the street to the president in the palace, they need what is the weather and climate of that day or that region. But when we now face the issue like climate change, it reminds us about the Spanish flu in 1917 and the corona in 2019. So where actually all our knowledge in science and technology, particularly medical science, was failed because so many people have perished or lost their life. But the climate change, which is inevitable and which is coming so fast, it has a lot of impact in all sectors of life, starting from water resources, food security, health, non-conventional energy, and sustainable development. So I feel this is the area which is not different from the subjects that we learn in the universities, because I was a physics student from Utkal University. So if we see a weather prediction, a climate study, it is a, we call it science of physics, but not so alone. It involves very high level of chemistry, because in atmosphere we have aerosols, we have water particles, we have solar energy. So it is a very good lab for the chemical processes. So when we learn more about the climate change, ozone hole and so on, so we know that there are more than 2,000 reactions that take place in the atmosphere. Similarly, it is science for the biosphere. Like the plant and others, you know that they grow with the solar energy and water. But plant also immensely contribute to our atmosphere in the various forms, like evapotranspiration. We tell that if a desert comes due to deforestation, so that means it gives evapotranspiration, take the water from the root zone of the plant and then transpire to atmosphere through transpiration. It also acts like a albedo. The change of the albedo, the solar energy partitioning at the surface, that takes place whether land is a desert, land is a water body, or land is a forest, or land is a agricultural field. Accordingly, it partitions the energy and gives whatever we have, whether climate in local, that is due to the land surface processes. That is what we call biosphere. Similarly, hydrosphere, actually we all know that water is life. And if one day we don't have water, what we tell? What a difficulty. But you know, we use less than 1% of the water in our planet Earth. 97% in the ocean, 2 to 3% in the glaciers and polar region. we get less than 1%. And that comes to only by the weather and climate process. That is what we call a hydrological cycle. Evaporation takes place, then it goes, and then condenses and comes in the form of rain, and that is the only water that what we use. Like a state, Chennai, you see that in Chennai they purchase water in a bucket. Next door is the Bay of Bengal. So water that is so valuable and so useful, but it has a lot of variability nowadays due to the climate change, where you see that total monsoon is almost same, but floods and droughts are increasing because you have short period of very heavy rainfalls and long period of no rain. As a result of a lot of break and flood situations, break and reactivation of monsoon, due to break we get a lot of thunderstorms and lightning. Nowadays, with a lot of advancement of observations, modeling and applications, the 150 years old India Meteorological Department, they could predict tropical cyclone very reasonably. And now Odisha coast, where we have always a fear, a cyclone will come, 5,000, 10,000 people die, it has reduced. But the casualty due to thunderstorm lightning has not reduced yet. Rather, it is some regions it is increasing. And this is mainly due to a break and revival of the monsoon of water contents. So these type of things lead to the lightning, and particularly now we have seen lightning was many times occurred in the pre-monsoon period, because that is we call Kal Vaisakhi, that occurred in April, May. But that people can see very nicely because a cloud develops, it takes few hours to mature, and people can go to their home and take in a shelter in a very good place. But nowadays, the lightning is increasing and casualty is increasing in the monsoon period, where we have low level clouds. Above top of that, we have the high level cumulonimbus clouds give the lightning, and that is the time water is there, very high electricity is passing through, positive generally, and then people are working the field. So casualty also substantially increasing. So like this, many things are there. This is the area actually I feel, along with so many areas we study in the our science and arts and so on, there is a need, and it is not only the research and development, even the disaster management, capacity building, and how the people will utilize. Like lightning, we have actually heat wave in Odisha in 1998, where more than 2,000 people perished. But now the casualty is not more than 2 to 3, because it is advancedly predicted, and people are given the time, this period you don't go outside. Then you will not suffer from the heat waves or heat stress. Now other issue is the urbanization. In urban regions, as you know, the cities like a very beautiful city like Bangalore, or even many other cities like that, where we have urban floodings, that is due to heavy rainfall. Again, that is because of the inbuilt of the enormous house systems, not proper drainage systems, and so many things. Similarly, heat stress and lightning. So I feel, and rather I urge to our higher education as well as to our esteemed vice chancellors, they should think and consider that how they can advance this subject in postgraduate level, where the physics, chemistry, biology, and other students or environmental science students can contribute substantially, and we can do some science. It is not only useful science, but it is usable. Because there are two different words, like previous lecture, I very appreciated the lecture was given earlier. Same way, science should be such, it should be not only useful, because most of science is useful. We cannot tell that it is not useful. But it should be also usable, and it is usable by our common people. Always we tell the slogan, everybody give all the stage, our science should go to the society. The science and technology should be so designed so that it will serve the everybody. So here I stop, but any discussion I will participate and answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for remarkably explain disaster management research and the gray areas, and also contextualize on the context of space and place. Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor Ashok Kumar Ganguly, panelist, to address the gathering. Please, sir.
Good afternoon. I think it's just 12 noon. It's a pleasure for me to be at the ODISHA Research Conclave. I come from IISER Berhampur, where I joined around 17 months back. It's a national institute of national importance, like IITs and IIMs and triple ITs. We have 7 IISERs in India, and IISER Berhampur is one of them. It's the youngest IISER. Before I tell you some slides on IISER, but I just want to tell you a little bit that, you know, the people in the world realized how important is science. How important is science was when COVID struck in February of 2020. I was in Australia, I came back, and Delhi airport was being closed. That was, I remember, I just managed to enter. It was 15th or 16th of March. In Italy and Spain and France, it had already started in February. And Delhi airport was shut, I think, around 16th or 17th of March 2020. But India did very well. I remember entire IIT chemistry department was making sanitizer. All our postgraduate students and our technical officers were making sanitizers because outside people had all hoarded and nothing was available. And we distributed to the community. Although it is very simple chemistry. It's very simple chemistry. I can teach it to 9th class students. But how important it is, at such times you realize without science and the knowledge of science, you cannot counter these things. And of course, India did very well. We have top vaccine institutes. You would be happy to know, India is the largest manufacturer of vaccine at Serum Research Institute in Pune. And now, of course, Bharat Biotech in Hyderabad made the Covaxin. And it was done so wonderfully. I got my shots at AIMS, and immediately you get the certificate, and it connects to your passport, so that when you travel, you have. So, how can you do it without computer science and IT and biology acting together? So that's one more thing I'm telling you. Science and technology is not subjects in corners, although we teach botany, zoology, chemistry, physics. It's all integrated today. You have to solve a problem. That's what science and technology has to do. It has to solve a problem. The problem was when I go out of India, how does the person at the immigration counter know that I have been vaccinated? The information at AIMS or whichever hospital you have been vaccinated goes to a central server. And that server feeds to the FRO, that is the Foreign Registration Office. And that information is on their computer when the immigration officer sees you. That's the level of science and technology we are talking about today. All our science and technology today is in our mobile. With your mobile, I can download apps internationally and open my garage door. I can find out the temperature of milk inside my refrigerator. This is the power of science today. And soon this mobile, the future is not going to be in your hand or phone. It will be on your body. Already you have gadgets made in Singapore, Taiwan, where they have wearable electronics. You can wear it on your jacket. You can touch one part and it will tell you some information. You will touch another part, it will tell you some other information. So the science and technology is growing at such rapid pace. Right now in the world, at least 100 laboratories are finding out something new. That's what our youngsters should be motivated who are sitting here. How we should teach science at higher education is that
Every day some new thing is being done. Not only what you are reading, because you cannot do new things without standing over giants. So what Acharya Prafulla Chandra Ray did, built the first industry in our country. It's called Bengal Chemicals, right? He was a chemist. P.C. Ray and Jagdish Chandra Bose, all of you read, there was no great money given to them. It was all here. They worked without money. C.V. Raman worked without money. There was no Department of Science and Technology or CSIR to give them money. So science and technology starts from here. That is creativity. Of course, we need big machines and everything. That's there. But you need something to start, which you can start anywhere. You can be sitting in the hill and still think about science and solve a problem. That's how people started doing science, of great problems. Why is the color of the sky blue? You know, how we can measure, the distance of the sun with the shadows. So science is in the mind. Those who do science, they work 24/7. There's no Saturday, Sunday for them, who are real researchers. I am a director, but I have still 8 PhD students. I have 5 postdoctoral students. And I did not want to become director if I have to read science. Science has to be in your blood. That's how you have to do science. And COVID showed how important it is. Within few months, we had the vaccine delivered everywhere and all that. Everything is known now. But Professor Mohanty gave a very good thing, that how to predict tsunami. The tsunami we had 20 years, 26th of December 2004, nobody will forget. That kind of tsunami India never heard. Tsunamis were heard in Japan, in Hawaii. Indians never knew what is a tsunami. But we were hit by the biggest tsunami, by an earthquake which happened somewhere near Indonesia. And so many people were killed. But now do we have sensors to predict the tsunami? So those sensors have to be somewhere in the sea. And they can predict the tsunami so that our centers in different parts of the country can deliver that information to our people if there are rising waves, say 10 kilometers away from the ocean or 20 kilometers or 100 kilometers away, and can we give them that information? So I'm sure Professor Mohanty will know better than me. So somebody who is modeling these things and giving information. We need giant supercomputers and all that to handle this kind of information. But the latest thing all of you may know who are into science and technology, Google has launched the world's greatest supercomputer. All the world's supercomputers, they will take something called septillion. So you go and find out what is septillion. A million you will know, a billion you will know. Septillion years to solve a problem, what Google has launched by a chip which takes 5 minutes. Under 5 minutes. So that's the level of technology. It has been working for 30 years behind the scenes. 30 years of research. That is research and development. And then they launched this chip on 9th of December 2024. The rate at which science and technology is growing, all our young people, you have to contribute to that. Where will the great institutions of our country get people? They will be coming from universities. I studied in Delhi University. Like that, many of the people who are directors today and every place, they studied in some university in our country. So universities are the playground where some teacher taught so well that I decided to do research. I was already IAS, I had cleared my written exam. My father wanted me to be an IAS officer. And I was born and brought up in Delhi. All my friends were IAS officers at that. But I had these teachers who motivated me to do research. And I went to Indian Institute of Science and spent 5 years there. And I met yesterday another director at Bhubaneswar, IMT director. He's 10 years younger to me, both taught by the same teacher. And we were discussing how teachers matter. They will change your life by few lectures. You have somebody wanted to do something and then changes your life. So teachers' role is great in academics, and teachers come from universities. You are undergraduate teacher. I learned my quantum mechanics in undergraduate. I still remember that. But I don't work in quantum mechanics. But today, the world is talking quantum. Government of India has launched 9,000 crore project on the quantum mission. There was a time people used to say, what will you do reading quantum mechanics? Today you see the applications in cryptography. You know, how can you code signals? In banking, all the mobile things, you know, how to do these banking transactions. You know, all that requires blockchain, requires all that. Most banking systems now require blockchain, cryptography, all comes for computer science, but the basics is quantum science. So for all those who want to do science, it's a great world, but you must know that you have to do something novel. That's what somebody was saying. You have to have very high aims, and you should go for that. Doesn't matter you fail, but you have to try for the best. So I want to stop here and show you a few slides of our institute. Can you show the slides? I don't know whether you showed all the slides or not. They were running. Did you show all the slides? So these are our institutes. It's 9 years. Okay, go. I just wanted to show you some of the slides. And these are, go ahead, some pictures. So we have a very good infrastructure, and it's right by the sea. And it's a beautiful campus, so if you want to come, please come. Go to the next slide. We have a hostel, sports complex, and there are now 1,100 students, but soon we are going to touch 2,000, 2,500. It's a sea beach, very nice beach next to the campus. So we have state-of-the-art classrooms and laboratories. You can work at the best labs in life sciences, physics, chemistry. We have MRI machine to do research, not in a hospital, in a research laboratory. We have the state-of-the-art NMR facility. And we have high-performance computing systems. We have lots of machines for doing photonics and many other things. So go to the last. Basically, to do science, you need first thing is not infrastructure, it is the human mind. So you need the best people. You need good faculty to teach, good faculty to do research, who have been trained in top laboratories in India and the world. Then you need, of course, good students. And India has lots of students. That's why we do outreach. We do outreach. We don't want to miss students in schools, in villages and all. I do a lot of outreach. I have been to 27 states of the country, only 2 states. And I have done at least 400, 500 schools myself. And wherever I was in Mohali for 5 years, we did entire Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, schools outreach, etc. So that's very important. You don't know where a Ramanujam is sitting. By one lecture, you can change his life. It has happened. There is a student who was a laborer's child. In class 10, she was topper. She was going to be thrown out of the school or taken out of the school. We helped. Today, she is doing PhD in Guru Nanak Dev University in physics. So thank you very much. I want to tell you, if you want to do good in science, please work hard. There are ample places in our own country to do very good research. Today, Government of India spends so much money in top institutions in our country, and today we have a portal managed by Indian Institute of Science. It's called iSTEM portal. Any of you can go onto the portal, see which equipment you want to use. All the institutes are interconnected, and you can use any equipment in the country, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, Kanpur, IIC Bangalore, anywhere you can use. You have to take a time and you will be given a time. So go and see the iSTEM portal on the Indian Institute of Science. The department is called SENSE, Center for Nano and Some Engineering. They host the portal. For every student in India and teacher who do not have that facility, to use that facility, they will give you the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You have very well stated that science and technology makes life easy and livable. Thank you for your address. Now, I am delighted to invite Dr. Basant Kumar Das kindly address the August gathering. Sir, please.
Good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I like to tell, I am not the director of Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture. I belong to Central Inland Fishery Research Institute, located at Barakpur, Kolkata. And we belong to the fisheries. All of you know, Odisha has a 480-kilometer coastline. The coastal research is more important when you articulate to the things. So much species, flora, fauna, or if you see Government of India programs that have the discoveries from the biomaterials from the sea or bioactive compounds. And here maybe if you see ILS is doing from the funding from the, but I wanted to tell you, we should have an open-minded research because all of you know Odisha is very poor in all these things, articulating the research, investing the money, all these things. Let us see the institute collaborations, maybe universities, research organizations, all these things. Students should have a frequent mobility to do the high-class world standard research. That is the one of the things, and for which we require a investment sector-wise, because if the ecosystem is not good, then if we do not find a quality research in any of the environment. Therefore, whatever facility is in Odisha available or adjacent to the facilities where you can collaborate and do the good quality research for the development. Second thing is, when we work science for the society, first of all, we'll see agriculture, and maybe Odisha is also like India is an agrarian state. Even Odisha is so thing. And you will see in here, in the Fakir Mohan University, there is a dhan, pan, min. And again, if you are talking about the plastic, if you will be replacing the plastic, the part, means jute is the need of the hour. Maybe Kendrapad and other parts where the earlier jute cultivation, some part of the Baleshwar, there is a jute cultivations. We should promote also jute cultivation to replace the plastic. And that is one of the need of the hour. There should be specific programs should be initiated in the jute. Again, maybe you will find maybe the product. Because when you do the technological innovation, inventions, we should generate some money so that the government will funding and they will gain. The technology and product oriented research. Like you will see Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, lot of pharmaceutical industries are coming up. The ecosystem is there and they are providing that in turn, the revenue earned by this, and that has been led to the science development. We should have an enabling ecosystem. Government should promote the enabling ecosystem for industry, because industry, university, research organization, interface is need of the hour, because government cannot fund wholesome of the research. So we should have a academia, industry, university, research organization collaboration and need the hour. That should be taken. Maybe government may take some in quarterly basis. Any of these are the innovations. We are sending the students, academicians and industry will fund for their research, and these are the where the facilities available that can be consolidated and students have a mobility. So that will lead to be world-class research, and where we are talking. And further leading to this, some of the innovations, maybe patent and product. Maybe we have thousands of patents we have now, but now we need some of the product that should be commercialized, led to the industry driven, and the revenue generated put into the research. That is the one of the need of the hour. That is the most need of the hour, where if you want to fund and have a greater ecosystem in this basis. Second thing, if you see, maybe we have like I belong to a thing like in this state of this district of Baleshwar. If a lot of things people see, we do not have lot of industry. But if you see the agricultural driven research is taken, or the coastal, here the marine, Chandipur and other things, and shrimp farming, other things, that can be a focus to the boost of the economy, and the college, the university is located here, can be lead to that system. And student, again, if you see horso crab research is done by this university, which has a lot of pharmaceutical value, anti-cancer's value, that can be elevated to a greater level with a tie-up with the forest department, because when they do the research, there is a banning of the forest department not to venture, but there should be the production center, other system, lot of research, and the product that comes to the world-class product will come, and the revenue will be a greater extent. That is the one aspect I wanted to speak. Again, if you see here, lot of maybe the aquaculture importance is there, and especially to go to the science for the society, the people can be benefited, because again it contributes the GDP, agriculture contributes, again fish, where we are talking about the per drop more crops, and fisheries can sustain to a significant doubling the income of the farmers. That can be done, because one hand we look to the farmer-centric research, another hand we look to the industry-centric research, third one they taken. Again, fourth one we found, when you develop some of the products, sensors and other things, automations we call about. Today we talk of this drone-based research, everything. Automation is more important nowadays. We require most of the instrument that has to be produced, more of the IITs or IJR, NIT, they are working. They should supplement to the ICR Institute or other universities, so that low-cost product sensors can be given to lead to the, just like nanometer, everything talking, everybody is talking. That should be driven, and that should be ecosystem be provided to producing these chips, sensor-based chips, that can be used by the farmers for the things. And fourth one, when we are talking about the ecosystem services and goods, we should evaluate how much ecosystem gives, and that can be service, and the research can be driven, and policymaker can invest into that line, how much we can invest in that regards. That is need of the hour, because like we are talking about the Mahanadi. Mahanadi, how much it is giving to the in term of recreational, fisheries, tourism. Then we can have river conservation, can invest. That is need of the hour, because the pristine ecosystem is getting the polluted. Like we are talking nowadays, emerging contaminants, like plastic, face like your tricosans, other things, products are coming, you have the toothpaste everywhere. That needs to be regularized nowadays. Nobody knows when maybe after 10 years, like DDC and BHC, the fourth generation antibiotics and these emerging contaminants will lead to the cancerous, to the thing. So therefore, we are talking about the cancer-based and everything. Other end, we are not giving this is the water, these are the emerging contaminants, what is the need of that. So research more needed and its applications, and popularizing these things, what are, and therefore science for the popularizations. We may have a research paper or other thing, but it needs to be reached in the local language to the each farmers, because our country is more than 50% are living in a rural area, and these are the ICT based communication is need of the hours, maybe whatever may be, the universities, other things, that can lead to be a consortium where they can give the emerging things that can go to the people, to people awareness, because we cannot go, because extension methodology is very poor in the nowadays because of recruitment policy. We cannot go to the door-to-door, but the ICT technology which go definitely to the door-to-door, where we can educate the people, or the illiterate people, you know, and again, one of the challenging tasks is achieving SDG goal, which is poverty, malnutrition, hunger, life below the, all these 17 SDG, we should work, all of you should work, about the India commitment 2030 to achieve this SDG that you need. These are the, some of the few thoughts to be addressed, where the young mass, young energy, we are talking about the youth can be driven, the universities and other things, they can take a lead role each one, just like Swami Vivekananda comes with the empty jhula, where the knowledge bank is there. We should go with that empty jhula, which is not carry much of the weight, but it carries the knowledge that can be disseminated to the end user and society as a whole, so that there, if we see, because we are achieving 142 billion populations here, India 142 crores is here, to next year it will be surpassing, already surpassed to China, so and to them to reach, the government cannot do it. But at least this ICT medium, the universities networking, we can reach and teach. That is one thing, reach one, teach one. If we see, then maybe again 5 years, 10 years ahead, we can achieve something. With this, I thank you all the juries, panelists, and audience listening for me. Thank you, Jai Jagannath, Jai Odisha, Jai Balesh.
Thank you, sir, for motivating us with your expertise and also highlighting how academic engagement need to reach to the community. Thank you, sir. May I now invite Sri K. Suchendar, Director of the Integrated Test Range in Baleshwar, Odisha. Sir, please address the gathering. Sir, please.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, Vice Chancellors, Professors, teachers, research scholars, students, a very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to congratulate FM University for bringing such a prestigious research conclave to Odisha and this part of the Odisha also, where a lot of talent abounds in number of areas. But how do we foster this talent to make it useful? So that is the basic research what we need to do, strictly speaking. Okay, before I get into it, let me, as you all know, DRDO makes products for the defense, for our defense forces. We make number of missiles, right from 10,000 kilometers range to 100 kilometers range. We make a lot of radars which are required for observing the aircrafts which are coming from across the borders. We have ship-based systems to protect our seas, which we deliver to the Navy. So this list of, we have a lot of tanks, aircrafts being made, so on. But what is really the research which is going on in DRDO, and how do we all collaborate together to take us all towards Vikasit Bharat? In DRDO, basically, we are not doing any fundamental research. We only make products which are required for the defense with new technologies. After the initial concept is proven, after the initial product is proven, then the industry takes over. They start producing it into numbers and deliver it to the various defense services. So how does the technology get developed in DRDO? Basically, DRDO only performs applied research. It doesn't do fundamental research. There are few labs which are doing, but now the government is wanting us to go for applied research. So where do we get the raw talent of research which needs to be used for applying it? That is where the universities come in. One of the pillars which we need for research is basically our academia and the various universities in the country. So how do we come together? How do the three pillars which are required for the government? One is the academia doing basic research, institutions like DRDO which takes up the basic research and comes out with a technology, a new product concept and proves it to the defense. And finally the industry which takes over these products, mass produces it and delivers it finally to the services. So these three pillars have to collaborate together in order to get us towards a final goal. But there are a lot of gaps among each of these pillars. So that is what we together, we need to sit together and try to solve. Where do we put in our efforts so that these three different types of institutions come together to have a common goal? We have already seen, number of talks have been already delivered related to the number of papers which are being produced by universities, the quality of the papers, how do we assess the quality of the papers. But from my point of view, a research, okay, we do a research, an incremental research which keeps on moving incrementally, but finally it has to culminate in a product or a new technology. Without that, a research is only for academic purposes. If it does not get into a technology, a new technology which is path-breaking, let us say the smartphone, it has number of technologies built into it, and for that there are number of researchers who have done lots of work years, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, to come out with communication, to come out with reduced types of chips. So all that put together finally became a smartphone. So we need to look at finally what we are going to deliver to the commercial world, to the defense world, and to bring out better products which will be useful for the whole world. But today, even though we are number one in population, We have number of papers being come out from India, of course, but our global innovation index is not so good. We have not yet reached, we are somewhere in the middle of the developed countries. So where are we lacking? So this is what we all, as administrators, as people who can push progress, who can push research in this country, have to think about. We have a number of areas where we can work in. In fact, India has now become the back office of the whole world. Everything related to computerization, automation, the complete world comes to us to computerize it and automate it, and we are controlling all the services related to the whole world in computers. But in other areas, in pharmaceuticals we are doing slightly better. Biotechnology is another area where we need to really look into, and AI. We are doing a lot of research in AI, but there are no products which are coming out which is useful to us or to the world. So that is, we need to have focused attention onto how to come out with the products. In fact, what products do we need? In fact, I would request, as we have the commissioner here, I would request the state and the government to look into what are the areas which specific universities have to look into. Each university has a strength. So that is what we need to grow. So that is to be identified. And the technology readiness level which the industry wants, which DRDO wants, which the commercial world wants, that needs to be identified. Where are the gaps in that? It is not only for the purpose of making a paper. Now, once the paper is made, it has to finally move into a product. So that is where I think we all have to join hands together and come out with how do we do it. For that, number of ideas have already been put up and many of them have been implemented. Each university, I think, is already making some sort of an R&D cell where all ideas which the industry wants, which government-owned research institutions like DRDO wants, ISRO wants, they come over to the universities. They put up their problems. This, we are not able to solve these problems. Can you solve it? So this type of problems should be taken up, and the research scholars should be given a smaller problem related to that. So that the research which everybody in the world does, in India does, finally should come out with some innovative product, some innovative technology which can be used for India. So this is the way what I would request all the research scholars over here to put in their brain in this area, and all administrators to focus towards how to guide them towards this area. As we all know, there are areas where there are factors which are out of our control. We give the best of education to number of brains over here, but finally there is brain drain which is still happening, and we lose all our people to outside countries. So can the government think of some ways to force these people to work here for some time before they start going out? Can we utilize the education which we have imparted to the young minds, to the creative minds, so that it can be utilized for our own purpose before they start giving it to the whole world? So these are some areas which we need to really look into before we start how to go into fundamental research. So apart from this, basically, as I was telling, DRDO has started a number of what we call cells, basically in number of universities, in IITs, where we call the excellence centers have been put up, where we try to focus upon what type of research we need, DRDO needs, so that we will be able to use it from those universities. So this, maybe at the state level also, something similar can be taken up, where the problems of the state, the technologies which need to be built by the state can be advertised, can be given to all the universities, and they can take up excellence centers, and those particular research scholars who are really showing some creative acumen in order to contribute in these areas can be further promoted in order for these activities. One more request which I would like to put up to the various vice chancellors and the university people and the academias that is our syllabus aligned towards research? Our syllabus is basically we are teaching the fundamentals of all subjects, and finally the research college is left on his own, maybe along with his guide and professor, to decide what research he wants to do. Should we not promote, should we not try to tell them what is new in the world and this is where we need to go? It might not have reached a standard. It might not have reached a great a great platform for teaching. But at least these are the areas which you need to work into, and this is what you're going to work to tomorrow. So this is what we need to impart to our young minds also. And I believe that with the amount of creativity and brain which Indians have, we are almost going to every part of the world and we are taking it over. But in India, we have not yet reached the stage where we can say we are number one in R&D. So I request all great minds over here, all academicians and all policy makers in order to drive India towards this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have very well said that advancements in research with new and innovative technologies serve the purpose effectively and efficiently, and ultimately enhances in quality in the research. Thank you, sir. May I now invite Professor Ashish Kumar Mahanti to kindly address the gathering. Sir, please.
Esteemed Commissioner cum Secretary, Department of Higher Education, Government of Odisha, respected Professor Madhumita Das, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, researchers from all over the state, students, invitees, and my sole colleague who is sitting in front of me as the President of Odisha Vigyan Academy. I must express my gratitude to Professor Santosh Kumar Tripathi, Vice Chancellor of FM University, who gave an opportunity to express our views of a very small organization consisting of only 2 scientists existing in Odisha under the administrative control of Science and Technology Department, Government of Odisha. Vigyan Academy, Odisha Vigyan Academy is not a research organization, but definitely we encourage research in certain ways. What is the aim and objective of the Odisha Vigyan Academy? Of course, if you ask anyone, then commonly people say that the role is popularization of science. Now, what is popularization of science? We mean we do certain works by which we can popularize the science among the common people of the state, or we create awareness regarding advanced development in the science in the state. We inculcate scientific temper among the students of the state so that they can take up science education. We also honor the scientists of the state. The last one is important as far as research is concerned. Now, one by one, I will just briefly tell about what exactly Odisha Vigyan Academy has been doing. We publish 3 magazines. One magazine in Odia, that is Vigyano Diganta. It is published in every month, 11,000 in number, distributed to all government recognized schools, high schools. Second one is Science Horizon. It is in English, published in every month in 2,000 number and distributed to all +2 science and +3 science colleges of the state. Besides that, both the magazines are also given to Honorable President of India, Governor of Odisha, and all government officials, heads of the departments, life members, and many other people. The third magazine is the Odia Braille Script magazine, that is Vigyan Diganta. It is tri-monthly published for visually handicapped students, and it is also distributed free of cost. So the printing, the compilation, printing, publication, distribution, everything is looked after by 2, and there are 4 assisting people who have been combined. The combined effort is being successful in doing this and maneuver. In addition to that, we have been entrusted with the government of Odisha with a responsibility to honor the scientists of the state. We encourage the scientists in the terms of certain awards. The awards are, the first or topmost award is Biju Patnaik Award of Scientific Excellence, which is given to only one scientist across the world. That means one person from all the fields will get that award. I will explain exactly what and how the things are done. Then the second award is Samanta Chandrasekhar Award. There are 4 numbers of Samanta Chandrasekhar Award. 3 for the scientists who are working inside the state, 1 from physical science, 1 from biological science, 1 from engineering and technology, and the 4th one from one ODIA scientist working outside the state, anywhere in the world. Then there are 4 awards. These are Odisha Young Scientist Award in the same categories as I explained about Samanta Chandrasekhar Award. There are 2 Popular Science Book Awards, Pranakushta Parija Popular Science Book Award, 1 in general category, 1 in children category. Then we felicitate 5 senior scientists every year. This is the total activity, in fact, carried out as far as honor is concerned in every year. And this year, for 2024, the advertisement has already been made and the applications have already been received. We are processing them for the process. And the third activity is we conduct some what you call seminars, depending upon certain days having scientific importance. We celebrate the National Science Day, World Science Day, Thalassemia Day, Pollution Control Day, Environment Day, selectively by inviting some eminent scientists. We prefer our awardees so that their knowledge can be disseminated to the common people. Then another activity which we carry out, both of us move to some distant, remotely located schools. Schools where facilities are very remote. We both carry certain equipments with us. We have purchased microscope. Within last 2 years, we have purchased some equipments. We carry them to the schools, conduct some experiments there, explain the basic principles so as to make them interested for science education. And fifthly, we conduct one interactive session among science teachers and students from 30 districts of the state. From each district, 2 students, 1 from government high school, 1 from high schools operating under SC/ST Development Department, and 2 teachers. So 4 persons from each district come for a session, interactive session, which is conducted at Image. 120 students and teachers aggregated, they are kept for 2 to 3 days, and we deliver lectures, we conduct various competitions, and we also take them to visit from to different places, research places, so that their interest can be created for research and development. There, the competitions are also conducted on various occasions, including interactive session, debate competition, the science project competition, quiz competition, essay competition, fine art competition, Rangoli competition, all based on science, principles of science. So when I say awards and honors, earlier there used to be the applications which are received, nominations which are received, simply evaluated on the terms of number of publications. After we joined, we discussed among ourselves, and the rules did not permit us anything to add within that nomination form. So we implemented that, no, let us add something so that the quantitative assessment can be different from the qualitative assessment. So we stress upon qualitative assessment so that a person from physics can be compared with a person from botany or zoology. Because the question is asked by the experts who are very senior professors, either retired or at the verge of retirement, neither ODIA nor served in Odisha, and the third thing is they are fellow of one national academy. So we invite such senior people to a very what you call secret place where nobody knows, secretly conducted selection, very fair selection is being conducted, and they ask us this question, sir, how can the apple be compared with orange? We say that, sir, it is qualitative evaluation, qualitative assessment. So the question which has been raised for last 2 days being whether we give to the number of publications, we give importance to the number of publications or quality of publication. No doubt in it. We have to look into the quality of publication. We know that very well the publication number is very high in this country, but the assessment or the number or the standard of the university when he rated in the terms of 100, we know how many institutes of the country are located within that list of 100 educational institutions. So there we might be failing because the publications which are being made by us may be very important as far as academic is concerned, not very useful as far as practicability is concerned. So we have to think about that. We have to be concerned about the practical aspect of the publications. So definitely I will like to share briefly about my experiences as a teacher when I served Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology. Of course, we know that the universities have a very multiple complex function, like we have to provide quality education to the undergraduate students, quality education to the postgraduate students, and also encourage research. Now imagine about the educational institutions which have to give a particular target to produce high caliber human resource. May it be administration, may it be management, may it be industry, may it be same universities. There we require high caliber qualified persons so that the future of this country will be secured. Now think about the infrastructure and the facilities or the staff condition of this university. I am very sorry to say, sir, because I have served in one university, the condition has been extremely poor, and forget about the conditions in the undergraduate colleges where a teacher is asked to take almost 25 to 35 number of classes. Think about a person having 25 to 35 classes, has how much energy is left to use his brain, as all of us agreed that brain has to be used for the research. Now how this brain will work after 35 classes of the that he takes in the week. So these are all certain practical aspects, and we all know that the research is also playing pivotal role for setting the universities. We all know that that needs to be research for technological innovations. We have to have advanced knowledge, as all of us agree. We have to gather new information. We have to create new products which is cost effective as well as working efficiency. And we have to also solve the challenges that we face in our day-to-day life. And it is of course possible by interdisciplinary, collaborative research, and then only we can match to the global competition. And it is pertinent to mention here that collaborative research, along with the linking of industry with academia and establishment of many incubation centers, because my young researchers must be thinking that how to create one laboratory initially and how to initiate my work. Once he has developed that interest and he will have that facility, he will be definitely working. So my request is to provide that infrastructure and provide adequate human resource so that research will not be affected at all. With such effectiveness, with such trial, we must be able to target, we must be able to solve the problems, we must be able to find the solution to the problem which we face as far as research and development is concerned. We are not lacking in the terms of brain, we are not lacking in the terms of manpower, highest populated country, we all know that. Only thing is that ignition. That ignition is required because we have now realized that the research is a core requisite for the research communities and for the quality development of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the importance of science, recognizing the scientists for encouragement and motivation, as well as reaching school to strengthen the quality in education system. Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. J.K. Sundarai from CIFA to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Very good afternoon, learned panelists on the dais and intellectuals of the dais, and the young students, those are aspiring to be something different in their life. Actually, when you are in the last part of the panelist, then you lose everything, whatever you thought to talk. Actually, most of the things has been covered actually. But what I am going to do, I'll just divide my discussion in the two parts actually. So one thing is, let's acknowledge and recognize we should create an environment which will ensure that we should not fear for the failure. The most of the issues what I have seen actually, any researcher or technology developer, maybe Dr. Suchendra will be agree, we have an apprehension, whatever I'm doing the right thing or wrong things. So there itself, your intellectualities and everything is get killed there. So it's a typical attribute of an innovator. You should not be deterred by whatever others are saying actually. That is number one. We should have a habit that we should not fear for the failure. Number one. Number two is regarding investment. Whenever you get a project or funding, what happens? You are under tremendous pressure from the funding agency. Give us the UC, give us the SOE, right? So you try to, you need to utilize the fund in a proper manner. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get a product out of that. I'll just give two examples. I come from an institute which is day-to-day attached with the human lives across the globe. I am come from Freshwater Aquaculture Institute. We are working on the mostly fish. Okay, very aligning to the one district, one product of government of Odisha, ODOP. I'll give one example. 92 we started one particular program what we got in 2002 improved Rohu, Jayanti Rohu. Means what was the plan? Actually we identified a problem that the fishes are growing slow. So we need to have a better varieties. Then we create the opportunity. We got the fishes from across the India, then started developing a product. We had gone for a multi-location demonstration. Finally the product has come. And what we could see, the product is better than the normal varieties, Rohu. Because of this particular technology, I can tell you, we have done a third-party evaluation. This input Rohu Jayanti will give an additional 3.4 million metric ton by 2027 with an additional benefit of 2,700 crore. Only one technology, right? So that's what the power of a technology. But I'll come to the next phase actually. How should we get it done? My request is, whether it's a stakeholder or farmer, you bring farmer into research, FIR. Because you develop a prototype, bring the farmer, and give a participatory guarantee system. He should be convinced that I am going to get anything out of this research, either in terms of IP, intellectual property, in terms of revenue, whatever may be. If you give a participatory guarantee scheme, a system to a farmer, definitely we can converge. Because when I was a student at Ravensa University, we never had this type of conclave actually. It was mostly every department, chemistry, botany, zoology department. But this is, I think, Odisha Research Conclave, the first of kind in Odisha. They have started actually where physics, chemistry, defense, engineering, everybody is there. So we are looking for a greater convergence. So that is, I think, I must thankful to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Government of Odisha to start like this Odisha Research Conclave. So what we should do actually, the point is, you look for a research theme which is a local problem having a global relevance. Then only you can attract the investor from outside. And the research theme should be in such a way, at least everybody look at you when you start doing something actually. And the second thing is mindset. Let's be much more broader actually. Initially, Dr. Das was talking about open-mindedness. Unless you have a broader outlook, then it's very difficult to get out of the product actually. And Dr. Suchandra was talking about technological readiness level. Actually in agriculture, sir, we don't follow the TRL 1 to 10, but it's mostly in the Science Defense Institute. But our technologies in agriculture and aquaculture, horticulture, it's more a TRL 1 to TRL 7. But once you have a technology, definitely it is having a ecological value, people will come to you. And Dr. Mohanty was talking about climate change. What I would put it in a different perspective, socio-ecological resilience. Because we are working for the climate resilient species in agriculture and the fisheries also. Take the example Rohu, which is a typical freshwater fish, can be grown in a low saline water. If you look into starting from Baleshwar to till Ganjam, you go to any backyard pond, along with the brackish water species, Rohu is being farmed. Because the species become a resilient. So what we should look into, how we make it more resilient and see that the flesh quality does not change. So we should focus research on that. And coming back to this particular Baleshwar district, I was working here in Baleshwar in '94 in a private company. There is no much changes in the fishery system here. But no doubt production has gone up. What we are looking, we are unable to create a brand of a Baleshwar fish or fisheries product. Because we are not sure about the quality assurance. And another thing, any aquaculture system, post-harvest loss is too much. So if you can reduce the post-harvest loss by application of any technology, that will be a great benefit to this particular state actually. Because post-harvest loss almost we lose around 15 to 17% the live biomass. So somewhere there is a research gap which we need to address that one. And another thing, if you look into this convergence, I was going through higher secondary education's website, almost around 39 to 42 universities, around 10 ICR institutes in Bhubaneswar across India, other national importance is around 8. Odisha is not dearth of an institution. Like, I must thank Dr. Ganguly regarding talking about the scope and facilities. The point is there is a requirement as a larger convergence platform, by which at least it is easy for us to target something, get something benefit out of the entire research platform available across the Odisha. And another thing actually you might be knowing about this Government of India started launching on one nation, one subscription. Because the major impairment for Indian researcher has been the open access journal. Because unless you have a money, you can go for higher impact publication. Thanks to Government of India to come into one nation, one subscription system, by which at least our research can go to the larger platform. Another point is what happens actually, we should not be rash actually. The concept of everything getting fast, it is a detrimental. So somewhere you need to bring a distinction between what incremental research and what is moon sky research or moonshot research. So somewhere we need to look into that. And coming to my last part actually, what I want to emphasize, like, this respected secretary is here. Sir, what we need actually, the point is the student, mostly those that are working, I think as per the NEP, you should have a research development council. I don't know how many of the universities are having that research development council. The point is whenever you choose for a dissertation work, wherever you go to anywhere, see that whether the research can be translational or not. Because everybody is looking into translational research. I am agreeing with Sukendra, you was telling about ask people to be in the state, right? So it is very difficult because when I see my research cannot be translational, so I look for another shortcut to go to somewhere actually. So it is our duty, all universities, all institutes, all national importance, see that how a research can be translated, at least some value to the developer and what is the client is looking at. So my request and submission is bring incubators or being stakeholders into research, what we call FIR, farmer into research, what we have been doing actually, this is paddy farming or fish farming. If you bring farmer into research, once you develop a prototype, take to the farmer, demonstrate it, ask another 20 farmers to see, then it will be easy for your technology dissemination. Sir, in that case, we no need to go for a TRL 1 to 10. So at least even at the TRL level 3 also you can easily propagate your technology and it will have a clear-cut impact actually. And coming back to the students across whoever sitting here, we conduct many of the interviews when you recruit the SRF and JRF. My sincere is request, stay away from the digital drugs. I mean digital drugs, I mean to say like, social media, WhatsApp and other things. Focus on the research actually. If you complete your master's degree with a dignity, nobody is going to look into that. Nobody is going to put question to you, rather you will be flourishing in your career. Because when we were student, we never had this all type of distraction, right? Of course, mobile gives you everything, but the point is, see that your 6 or 7 years education, when you start a research career, starting from UG and PG, it should be more fruitful, more productive. At least by which we can have a much more Odisha Research Conclave. Hopefully next time, who knows, out of this audience, somebody will be awarded with a bigger award, and we hope that, and I think this Research Conclave will give a bigger platform for everybody, all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You have well pointed out that relevance of collaboration and convergence in research is very much required. You also have said, sir, invest the knowledge and wisdom in resolving local problems of global importance. Thank you, sir. May I now invite Professor Chitra Baral, Arizona State University, USA. Sir, please address the gathering.
Namaskar. Thank Professor Tripathi for inviting me. And I want to say something very interesting. So I want to tell some secrets about the recent surge of science and technology in Odisha. So first I would like to point to Director Ashok Ganguly. And I will tell you the story behind ISAR Berhampur. So there was a lot of effort, like after IISc I mean, there's a big gap and there was a lot of scientists all over India. They wanted to create more science institutes. And that's the story behind all of ISER. But how did ISER Berhampur came to be? And that's a very interesting story, and it actually connects to many things. And it also relates to the topic that we have here is R&D in science and technology for higher education system. And you would be surprised to know that Professor Santosh Tripathi and Professor Supriti Mishra have a big role to play in that. Both of them are management professors, so I will tell you the secret of what is their story, how they are related to this, even though they are professors in management. Excited? Okay. So in 2000, and there are also 2-3 important things I want to mention before I go into details. We would like to thank Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. His 100th anniversary, birthday just passed 2 days back. He has a very important role. So 3 people I'll mention, he has a very, very important role. The second person is Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, who just passed away. So these 2 luminaries have big role to play in Odisha's science and technology development and how it relates to Professor Santosh Tripathi and Professor Supriti Mishra. So it's like a puzzle, right? You'll be wondering how all this is connected. And I'm coming from US and how I know all of this. And there are very few people actually who know the story behind this. Okay. So in 2003, that was the time Atalji was the Prime Minister. And he was convinced by many scientists that he needs to open new science institutes. And he approved and 4 new National Institute of Sciences. Okay? And those 4 he announced in Pune, Allahabad, Chennai, and Bhubaneswar. This is 2003. National Institute of Sciences. Later we found the DPR in the website of the Ministry of HRD. We found the then president talking about it in the president's website. So this was all done by the Atalji's government. 2003. 2004, the government changed. Dr. Manmohan Singh ji became the Prime Minister. And then he announced, or the government then decided that, okay, they will not have National Institute of Sciences, but they will have something called ISERS, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, in 2 places, Kolkata and Pune, and some more in the future. And that year, I think 2005 was my sabbatical, and I was like Google News, I was trying to create a web page of what are the science institutes in Odisha. And I'm creating a web page, and while Googling, I found these pieces of news which connected all this. And that's when I contacted Supriti through my friends and Professor Santosh Tripathi. And then we started a movement across Odisha. In Bhubaneswar, there was Masal Jatra. The MLAs, the MPs went to the parliament, the MLAs into the assembly. It was like 1 year of non-violence, simple movement of that the Odisha National Institute of Sciences was taken away. And it ended in 2006 when Dr. Manmohan Singh came to Bhubaneswar, admitted his mistake, and said that he will establish National Institute of Science, Education and Research in Odisha, Bhubaneswar. So this story hasn't been written. I have the chronology and all the details in my website. So later I'll show you my website in the next session. So you can go and read the whole story. Like every day, there will be a news item in all the newspapers. This happened. CM wrote this. There's a Masal Jatra. There is this. This thing happened. Somebody actually filed a case in High Court and so on. It just continued from somewhere in October until July, until Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said, okay, you will get one. Now, how is ISER related, Berhampur related to it? This was nicer. And how did Odisha get 2 science institutes? And this one, actually very few people know the story behind it. The story behind this location was that all these news that was coming, there was a person who used to hang out in Cuttack High Court area. I mean, you know, if you go to a High Court, there are people who hang on, who come and help you to file your case. And he was not a lawyer, but he was very upset. So he had friends. He filed a PIL in Cuttack High Court that this thing has happened. The NIS from Bhubaneswar Odisha has been taken away, and so on. So the Cuttack High Court was said, okay, they put a stay order on the ICER in Kolkata. So Cuttack High Court put a stay order in ICER Kolkata. So then Arjun Singh was the education minister, and he said nothing doing. He said basically in later news things that yes, there was some thing about NIS and it was there in somewhere, but the cabinet didn't pass it. So we are the new government and we decided to do it here. That was his stand. So when this, so he actually appointed, he took the thing to Supreme Court. Of course, if he doesn't like this High Court ruling, then he takes it to the Supreme Court. Now this person who is hanging around Cuttack High Court, he of course doesn't have the wherewithal to go to the Supreme Court. So we helped him with documents, and then actually we found somebody at a Supreme Court who would fight the case. And this was a young guy of a friend of mine in US, his relative. And he initially started, but after a few months he said, sir, MHRD is putting their big guns. I am just starting my practice 2 years ago. I cannot really do anything. We have to hire somebody big. So we hired somebody big, and that person read all our things and presented the case in the Supreme Court one time. But he remembered. He was the finance minister in the few years later, and in his second year, he gave a ICER to Odisha. So that's the story, and that person is late Arun Jaitley. So that's the story of late Arun Jaitley. I didn't tell anyone until about this. I have all the things in my webpage. You can find all the court cases and all the things. But this story is not known how ICER Berhampur came to be. I mean, there's already 7 ICER. ICER Berhampur was completely out of the blue. That year, Arun Jaitley ji, actually finance minister, in the budget, they had many institutes all over India. It's not like there. But other places were like Footwear Institute or some small 50 crore institutes. And then they had 2 ICERs in Odisha and in Meghalaya, I think. And of course, Meghalaya messed it up. They said, oh, we don't want ICER. We want something else. So that never happened. But we knew the problem of delaying. So the moment the date was announced, the next day, the CM said, okay, I'm giving you the land. Start it. So immediately the next year, the ICER Berhampur started in rented premises in ITI Berhampur. And that's the story of, the story of ICER is big, but the story of ICER Berhampur is this. So you may not know this, but this would be interesting to know. So that was my first part. This is all chronicled about my page, in my web page. So now coming to the topic, I think everybody's waiting for lunch, so I don't know how much you want to listen. But I'll tell you a little bit quickly, and maybe later I tell more. In the next session, I also have a chance to say something more. So my research from the day one, my PhD days, actually not even PhD days, undergraduate days, has been on artificial intelligence. And one of my students, Swarup Misra, he just finished his PhD last year, and his work, and of course I'm a co-author, but his work mainly, is considered a pioneering work in something called instruction tuning. So people here who may have heard, many of you must know machine learning and supervised machine learning and so on. So in machine learning, you have you basically are creating an interpolation function, input and output, and you're trying to say, okay, if I have trained this, then if I give you a new input, what would be the output? And what his thought was that if when we teach something to a human, we don't, we tell them more than just giving input and output. We tell them what the task is. And in the past, machine learning didn't allow you to tell them what the task is because, they didn't understand natural language. But now that we are using transformers, which are good natural language, so we said, let's add to the input and input part instructions about what this is supposed to be. So this paper, instruction tuning, is actually the difference between GPT-3 and ChatGPT and all the later generative AI, all the later LLMs. And so you can see a blog many blogs about instruction tuning, and this paper of Swarup Misra, and I'm a co-author, is considered as the pioneering work on this field. At the same time that similar work appeared in Google, Meta, and OpenAI. You can find it in my webpage. And Swarup now is working in Google DeepMind, and actually his later paper, the next paper without me, at Google, is actually featured in New York Times with his photo with all the big Google guys. This is work about how to use LLMs for Math Olympiad. And that leads me to the topic is these GPT, these LLMs and all are very, very important to all aspects of education and science and technology research. And I would request Professor Tripathi to really promote the use of this in the good way. Because you can of course use it to copy things and do the wrong way, but it's very useful to use it in research and education, and definitely you should use all of that. And so that's kind of the main theme that I wanted to mention. I need more time, but people probably it's before lunch. I don't know if Secretary Agrawal will be there in the next sessions or not, but are you going to be? Okay, so then I'll talk more about it, but one thing I want to say in the next session, I'll just give you a highlight, that's about the NEP 2020. So I'm going to talk about a particular aspect of NEP 2020, and one of the things I want to push is that we create more MERUs, Multidisciplinary Education and Research University across India, starting with Odisha, and an immediate impact or immediate suggestion for me, from me with respect to that, with respect to FM University, is to club FM University together with the medical college here. The universities should not be silos. They should have all different disciplines, and it's totally kind of a wrong-headed move to put all medical college under a separate university. So these universities should have medical engineering college all together so they can collaboratively do research. And so that's my point to Mr. Agrawal. And in the FM context, this should be done, that the medical college should be part of should be joined together with the university and maybe an engineering college and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are glad to hear your involvement and also the story behind IJR Barampur. Also, you have highlighted the significance of machine learning, AI in research today. Thank you, sir. May I now invite Dr. Anil Mahapatra from Zoological Survey of India. Sir, please address the gathering.
Students and faculties, I am here to represent my director, Dr. Diti Banerjee, on behalf of Zoological Survey of India. On behalf of Zoological Survey of India, I would like to congratulate Vice Chancellor FM University and the authorities for organizing this event very nicely. And I would like to brief on behalf of Zoological Survey of India what we do. Then I would like to focus on the state affairs. First of all, Zoological Survey of India is having a history of more than 109 years. It's a very old organization and primitive organization, I can say. Still we work on old-fashioned style because taxonomy is the oldest branch of science, and still we work on identifying organisms. This is the era of climate change. We talk much about climate change. We talk much about biodiversity loss. My dear students and faculty members, I would like to emphasize here, biodiversity cannot be termed when you don't know how to identify them. And this is a very basic science. Odisha as a state is having a very big legacy, like Professor Sushil Datta sir, Professor Malay Mishra sir, Dr. Ponda from RPRC, and the gap is now big. I can say very big, because in modern era, nobody loves to work on basic science. We have almost all university has branches of zoology, botany, and physics, chemistry, but everybody jumps into biotechnology, microbiology to do their research. Zoology as a basic subject, or botany as a basic subject, or taxonomy as a basic interest has been dying. The reason why we need a branch called biotechnology, we have specialized departments of biotechnology, but zoology people are working on biotechnology rather than zoology. Yes, interdisciplinary research is always good, but not at the cost of neglecting the basic research. This is a critical point with Odisha. We are lagging far behind in terms of taxonomy in relation to our neighboring states like West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, or Kerala. They are doing outstanding works. And taxonomists, if you are feeling that it's very disastrous to be in the subject of taxonomy, I will say we are the examples. We are surviving very nicely. World knows us. And being a Odia scientist, I am always proud. We have discovered many Odia species from Odisha very recently. And the legacy should be carried forward now onwards. Because we, the younger generation, should follow the legacy of our older generation. If you see in any taxonomic forum, Professor Datta, Malay Mishra sir, Professor Malay Mishra sir, they are well sort of in enter India. But now there is no one in Odisha who have been sort of in terms of when it is come to taxonomy, and that legacy is completely dying. Dying in the terms because the new era scientists are not interested, the students are not interested. Odisha as a state is having a very rich biodiversity resources. We have sea to mountain, we have rivers, we have all sorts of ecosystem except deserts in Odisha. But the person who can work on these aspects are very negligible. And as here are the people who are sanctioning projects, I will like to place it on record. When you are evaluating a project to be given to any faculty, please don't evaluate it on the basis of impact factor. It's disastrous when you compare taxonomy papers, its highest impact factor is 2. When you compare some other subject of modern branches, they start from 10. So, in terms of publishing, a 2 impact factor publisher for a publication for a taxonomist is as much as difficult that a person from biotechnology or other branches producing 15 impact factor publications. So impact factor should not be criteria. And another very important thing I would like to suggest that taxonomy is the branch of science which can be done without much investment. You can work at any place. A college faculty can work in his college with his campus, and a university faculty can work from his campus, because I have seen most of our university campus are very diversified in terms of biodiversity. And I hope with this message I would like to conclude myself, and on behalf of Zoological Survey of India, once again thank you all, and Jai Jagannath.
Thank you, sir. You have well said that cohabitation has always been our part of life from the very past. Thank you, sir, for this message, wonderful message, in fact. Now, may I request our Honorable former Vice Chancellor, Professor Madhumita Das, to address the August gathering. Madam, please.
A very good afternoon to you all, esteemed Higher Education Secretary Mr. Agrawal, and all the distinguished dignitaries on the dais, and my fellow colleagues, senior colleagues, friends of the dais, faculty members, staff of Fakir Mohan University, and research scholars and students. First of all, I am extremely happy to be here because this is just like a homecoming for me, and I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Santosh Kumar Tripathi for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So I visited all the stalls exhibited here, and I also saw all the poster sessions of physical sciences, more than 40. I'm extremely happy to see the research scholars, our young faculty members who have worked and who have come and joined the government of Odisha colleges and universities, right from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, IIT Delhi, IIT Kharagpur, IMMT, and working from Nevada, USA. So I see before me not the young research scholars or faculty members, I see the future of Odisha, I see the future of India, and I see the future of the world here. So I am extremely happy to see the way we are progressing, but at the same time, I remember when I was in school, my subject is geology. We used to study Odisha is a state which has huge mineral resources, 97% of chromite, 50% of bauxite of the country's India's reserve, 30% iron ore, 30% manganese ore. Still we have that mineral resources. But why Odisha is lagging behind? Why? Because we do not have that proper mindset, proper utilization, and only person who is representing government of Odisha is here, Mr. Agarwal, although he is representing Higher Education Council, I must say that research should be focused on mineral resources, on the marine resources. We have plenty of soil resources, water resources, forest resources, and we have to focus on that. Why we are lagging behind? Let me tell you, young faculty members and researchers, we have a misconception about doing research. We think that, I have come across many young teachers, they say that, madam, we cannot do research. I said, why? No, because research can be only done at Indian Institute of Science or IIT, because they have good equipment, good laboratory and good library facilities. Library is now online, everything is accessible through internet and everything. In tip of your finger you can access any journal, so that part is gone. And laboratory and equipments, I think what you need, my dear young friends, you need innovativeness, you need inquisitiveness, and for research you need passion. Passion for research. You have to be passionate about research. Passion means junoon, pura pagal hejibo. And I saw, I was listening to Professor Ganguly. He could have joined IAS, but he preferred because he was a passionate researcher. So we need researcher like this. And if you take, for example, Fakir Mohan University, we are doing excellent research here, patents are here, and I will give another example. Recently, one small 14-year-old girl, Remia Jose, from a school girl from Kerala, she invented one electric machine which runs without electricity. Just with the help of a paddle, there is a drum running inside. So if a school girl from Kerala can do, why can't we do research, excellent research in Odisha? Only thing we need, we have to be passionate about research, and we have to have that innovativeness, thinking in a out of box, thinking in a different way. Every day apple was coming from the tree falling to the ground. It was only Newton who saw with the lens of gravity. And then he formulated the 3 laws of motion. So you have to think in a different way. And inquisitiveness, that childlike curiosity. When we were children, every time we were asking, why is this happening? Why the sky is blue? Why the grass is green? But as we grow older, that passion, that asking the questions, that curiosity we gradually lose. So if you want to be a great researcher, I think you must not lose that childlike curiosity, that inquisitiveness, which will make you a great researcher. And passion, as I told you, I can give you the example of Bandana Siba, a great feminist, now an ecologist who promotes organic farming. She is a physicist, but she was passionate about organic farming and she chose to be a researcher in organic farming. And our own Jayanta Mahapatra, he was a physicist, he was a physics lecturer who passed away recently. So he had a passion for English poem. So research is something which should come not from the brain but from the heart. So I think we had discussed many things by the earlier speakers, but only I will focus on ethical research, responsible research is a need of the day. And I think the policy maker is here, my all vice chancellors, directors are here. If you find a forum, please try not to link promotion with research. If you say that you have to publish, then only you will be promoted, the quality will go down. I think that you have to also make it, think it in a serious manner, and then research is something which should be beneficial for the mankind. And my earlier speakers have already focused on that, but I will give you one example of Alfred Nobel. Alfred Nobel discovered dynamite, but when he saw that dynamite is used to kill the people, he spent all his money to form the Nobel Foundation, and we have that Nobel Peace Prize. So now there will be lot of complaints for the vice chancellors usually from the faculty members that we are facing, we have to take classes, you have made me controller of examination, you have made me director of sports, director of library, how can I do research? Please don't listen to them. Dear faculty members, if you want to do research, in spite of that workload, you can do that. I am sure, I am very optimistic, and then all the teachers of Odisha, if you are really want to see Viksit Odisha in 2036, if you want to see Viksit India in 2047, let us join hands together, let us make our state, Odisha state, #1 in the country, and we have to make a serious joint effort for that. And lastly, I would say that challenges will be there. So many challenges. Let us turn these challenges into opportunities. सीढ़ियाँ उनको मुबारक हो जिन्हें छत तक जाना है, सीढ़ियाँ उनको मुबारक हो जिन्हें छत तक जाना है, हमारी मंजिल तो आसमां है, रास्ता हमको खुद बनाना है. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your encouragement and motivational address as always. Thank you. Next, I am honored and glad to request Sri Arvind Agarwal, Commissioner cum Secretary, Higher Education Department, Government of Odisha, to address the August gathering and give the concluding remark. Sir, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Professor U.C. Mahanti, Professor Ganguly, Dr. Suchendra, Professor Ashish Mahanti, Dr. Basant Kumar Das, Professor Jitendra Sundarai, Professor Chita Baral, Dr. Anil Mahapatra, Professor Madhumita Das, VC FM University, VCs from Sambalpur University, Madhusudan Law University, Barampur University, and other universities whom I am not able to see from here. The faculties, dear researchers, scholars, friends, I am very delighted and pleased to be present here. I have a small connection with this university also. For a very short period, I also worked in this university. In 2013-14, long back, got an opportunity to serve this university, though time was short, but God gave me another opportunity to play a different role for development of this university. Thank you all friends for inviting me to this function. I was supposed to come yesterday, but due to some pressing engagement I could not come, and today I am here. And the moment I landed here, the Professor Tripathi has given me the most difficult assignment, and that too just before the lunch. You are the last speaker before the lunch. Everyone is waiting for the lunch, and I am a hurdle between lunch and the lunch plate, and so that's another this one difficult task. Another difficult task that has been given is to summarize and to conclude the thoughts, expressions of all eminent speakers who are sitting here, like those who have done great works in their respective field. And Madam told me that you should summarize their work in a line, which is just not possible. But nonetheless, being as a matter of practice, I have to do that the role that has been assigned to me. While responding to various issues that has been said, I would also like to highlight what the government of Odisha is also doing, so that all the research scholars, as Madam had said, why the research cannot be done in Odisha, why to go outside the state. The information that I'm going to share will definitely give you a confidence that yes, state is doing something and we can get facilities here also. So I'll also be talking on those things. First of all, I'd like to mention Professor Mahanti. Professor UCS Mahanti has rightly mentioned about the research in the field of disaster management. And as we all know, the Odisha is like one of the biggest reason for Odisha's backwardness in the past, and even it pulls us down also in the ladder, is the disasters. Every year one or other disaster, massive disaster is hitting us. Entire coast line is prone to cyclones. The large part of the state is prone to flood and droughts, heat strokes, now the lightning also. So if the research and innovation can be concentrated on the field of disaster management, that will definitely increase our resilience, our capacity to fight with the disaster and to reduce the loss. Particularly research in the field of early warning system, development of disaster resilient crops, health facilities, it can and development of infrastructure which can sustain various disasters. Very less work has been done in Odisha on these fields in the front of research works, though state government has invested heavily on capacity building of the state to tackle the disasters, but lot more to be done. And I expect the researchers to take note of this, and the advice that Professor Monti has given definitely is worth implementation. Professor Ganguly has also rightly mentioned, in fact, the researcher has to be from heart. He could have been an IS officer himself, could have been standing here and speaking, and everyone is like targeting you, being a researcher, being a policy maker and administrator, but he chose to be a researcher and contribute to the development of the society, and that is his greatness. I must say that he has contributed more by choosing the profession where he is, and he is like it will give him satisfaction till his last breath, because he will be working for the society. And for the administration, those who are in administration post 60, they have very less to contribute. They have to find new ways to contribute. He has, the ISER has, in fact, we have seen as an administrator, we have seen the work of ISER in the field of value addition in Kevada production, particularly in Barampur, and that has increased the farmers' income because of the value addition. And ISER has contributed a lot in developing that technology and all. So similarly, there is a need that all our research should be targeted towards solving the problems of the society. How the society's problem can be resolved, that is one thing that has to be seen. And that has been rightly pointed out by Dr. Basant Kumar Das also. He has suggested for collaboration with open mind. At the time of Professor Ganguly also mentioned about collaboration. Here one important thing is we as a public universities or private universities and different research institutions, particularly in Odisha, there is an urgent need to have proper collaboration. We are noticing as an administrator, we are noticing that everyone is trying to develop their own, to have their own laboratory, machineries and all, equipments, which is, it's difficult to maintain also unless it is being properly used. So there is a need to have proper collaboration with each other. There is a, you all must be knowing, there is a government of India portal also where all the resources with different institutions are mapped, and anyone can use these resources as and when required. I would urge all the public universities of the state, particularly those who are under our higher education department, to have MOUs with all the institutions in the state. Dr. Suchendra has mentioned about the applied research. Definitely, the objective of the research has to be on production also, and how it improves the quality of life of the mankind. So, like all must be knowing, in Odisha in last few years, we have made significant improvement in terms of research. Now, more than 20 odd patents were registered in last 2 years, and few of the patents turned into industry production. These are all outcomes of public universities. When we talk about the research ecosystem in the state, the private universities have also contributed, other institutions have also contributed. But this is about public universities of higher education department. So now all universities have focused on applied research. Professor Jitendra Sundara has also mentioned about Research Development Council in universities. Definitely all our universities do have Research Development Council. And he has also mentioned about the research to be more focused on the issues. Like he had suggested for farmers in research, incubators to involve themselves into the research. Professor Chitavaral, I am very excited to hear, I was very excited to learn how the story behind the ISER and his contribution, and the contribution of Professor Tripathi also. And I am very excited, sir. I would like to hear from you also, particularly on NEP and the Meru. And for the knowledge of all, the government of India has one scheme called PM Usha. There they have funded universities for upgrading them into Meru. And all will be happy that in Odisha, like one university is provided 100 crores of fund for upgrading themselves to Meru. And Odisha got 4 such universities. They are being selected to be upgraded as Meru. 100 crore is being given to those universities. Barampur University, the madam is sitting here. Revensa University, MSCB University, and Sambalpur University. And Professor Tripathi is also in charge of MSCB University. So we'll be having more such universities. They will focus on research activities. Dr. Anil Mahapatra has also mentioned about various initiatives taken by Geological Survey of India, and particularly on Indian species that he has mentioned. Madam has already told, and everyone has accepted, that research should not be done from here but from here. And so it can be done in Odisha, in FM University, or anywhere in the state. So now, just to sum up, I would like to say what we are doing to promote an ecosystem in the state. Now, Odisha Research Conclave, this is the this is an annual event, the 4th event, and I would like to mention that now we are seeing that initially when we started, response was less. Response was not very encouraging. But now, in today's program, more than 400 participants made their presentation. It's a big thing. And another thing is, now I'm seeing that universities are also excited to host this function. So there is a sense of pride in conducting these events. So it gives us a feeling that yes, we are on the right track. And definitely the research ecosystem in the state is going to be definitely better than what it is. As I already mentioned, we have lots of, now higher education department and the various public universities under it has focused approach on patents and also for industry production. Now the state has, just like JRF, we are also have a scheme to assist the research scholars. Now 30,000 rupees per month is being given to 300 research scholars across the state. Those who are participating, those who are conducting research in public universities. So in the first year, it was for the public universities of the higher education department. Now we are thinking to broaden the base to include other public universities of the state government. So around like this is a big encouragement for the researchers to focus dedicatedly on the quality of research. And it will definitely 30,000 rupees a month is a good sum, which may be increased in future. Apart from that, to promote research, extramural research funding is also given to the faculties of different universities and the colleges. Every year 60 such projects are being funded by the state government, and out of those previously funded projects, some patents are also been granted. So we are hopeful that in times to come, things will we will have a better result. Similarly, for patents, there is a financial incentive by the state government also for patents. So all those research scholars who got patent, they will be also awarded. Apart from that, almost all our universities have Center of Excellences to undertake multidisciplinary research into various fields. We have identified the strengths of the universities, and based on that, every university has opened some Center of Excellences, some large in number, and few of the universities, they are yet to establish the new universities. But research has been the focus, and we are opening more number of Center of Excellences to undertake research. And the access to the journals. Now the government of India has recently came out with One Nation, One Journal, one subscription. But the state government as a policy has extended this facility long back to all our university scholars. We were giving free subscription to for Science Direct, Elsevier and Abesco. So we had provided that we are trying to create an ecosystem. So this will give a confidence that the research is in a right direction. But in today's discussion, few things we all, as I understood, few things has been agreed by all. Is basically the funding in research and development. The speakers have spoke about increasing funding for research activities, and definitely this is one of the concluding remarks for this, that the state definitely has to increase more investment in the field of research and development, and the government of Odisha and the government of India also understand that for all societal development, innovation and research are key factors. They are the cornerstone for any developed society. For this, the state government has in the past invested heavily on research and development, and in the coming years also, we are planning to increase the investment in the field of research and development, particularly strengthening universities, the development of their laboratories are also in the pipeline. One thing, another area where all have agreed is the researchers, the faculties, the acute shortage of faculties in our universities. Yes, we are in a situation where we have this difficulty. We have faced this problem because of some legal dispute in the past, and most of us are aware of the developments and why it happened, and the temporary arrangement has been made in terms of engagement of guest faculties and the retired faculties and all, but again that has its own limitations. Therefore, we are in the process of removing the obstacles for engagement of the faculties in the universities, And very soon we are going to have the authority again restored back to the universities to recruit faculties as per their own strength and the area they focus. So this is an area where this discussion has today's conclusion of this thing. Industry Connect is another area, not only for skilling, internship, apprenticeship, but also for research. So all our universities need to be upgraded, strengthened, they themselves need to be strengthened, the government has to support to be able to solve the problems faced by the industries in their operations. The research also need to be focused on societal issues. We may, as Madam said, we all lost the curiosity within us. If we start looking in our surroundings, we find many issues which attract a research, which is a problem statement, based on which we can find a solution. For Baleshwar, let it be a fish or prawn. How we can increase the shelf life of fish? This is in itself, like it will help for the society also, the food security, the income level of the farmers, everything will increase. Or let's say Patachitra. How to make the Patachitra more economical, more income oriented by reducing the cost. So we have lots of things. For example, like while sitting here, we can find out solutions to reduce the cost in conducting these events itself. So if we start looking surrounding us, we'll find many issues, many problem statements on which we can undertake research, quality research, bring some solutions, and also can convert those ideas into products. The focus is the disaster management should be the focus of the research. Digitization is another area where all have agreed to focus on the research. And incubation centers, lab developments in the universities, so that they are all competent, they all are strengthened to undertake more better research. So these things definitely the state government is, in the past also while we have discussions with our vice chancellors, we had started working on these fields, and if things materialize the way we plan, definitely we are going to see a better research ecosystem in the state, which would lead to many such patents and products. And for Viksit Bharat and Viksit Odisha 2036, 2047, we had made lots of plan focusing on research and development. Once the draft plans are approved by the government, then only I can disclose what we are planning. But definitely, if those plans are accepted, we'll have a better knowledge-driven society where like one will not look towards IIM Ahmedabad or IIT Kanpur for different studies in the state government programs. They do it because of the confidence they have in their name, their quality. Many of our universities do have the potential, do have the capacity, but are being the level of confidence that we are not able to give to the policymakers. So we'll definitely see a change, but for that need support from everyone, passion and commitment of every person sitting here, and those who are not sitting also and actively participating in the sector. All need to be very committed, and wholeheartedly we have to work towards this. Thank you. With this I conclude.
Thank you, sir, for briefing out the roundtable discussion and emphasizing on the role of Higher Education Department for quality education in the state. Thank you, sir. Now it's time for felicitation. May I invite our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Santosh Kumar Tripathi, sir, to felicitate the panelists on this. May I request, sir, to felicitate. May I request, sir, to felicitate Dr. Anil Mahapatra, JSI, India. May I now request, sir, to felicitate Professor Ashok Kumar Ganguly, IJOT, Barampur. May I now request, sir, to felicitate Sri K. Suchendar, ITR, Baleshwar. May I now request, sir, to felicitate Dr. Basant Kumar Das, Central Inland Fisheries, Kolkata. May I now request, sir, to felicitate Professor Chitra Baral, Arizona State University, USA. It's our privilege that Indian Society for Technical Education, Odisha section, is interested to felicitate our Vice Chancellor, Professor Santosh Kumar Tripathi, sir. So I invite Professor Prabhat Kumar Padhi, Chairman, IST Odisha, to felicitate our Vice Chancellor, Fakir Mohan University. Sir, please.
To extend our felicitation by Indian Society for Technical Education, Odisha chapter, to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Santosh Tripathi, who is the Vice Chancellor of Fakir Mohan University and also Sri Ramchandra Bhanjadev University. And Professor Tripathi has a vast contribution for the development of the academic system in our state in last 40 years. He has contributed extensively for research, innovation, professional excellence in higher education, and fostering holistic development. He has hundreds of publications, number of books published, and also he has received UGC Research Award, NIPM Award, and many more. This Indian Society for Technical Education, established in the year 1971, is devoting for the improvement in the technical education system in the whole country. And in various states we have sections, and in many institutes we have chapters of IST, and now it is our opportunity to extend our felicitation to our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Now I invite Professor H.N. Thatoi, IST member and Director of Biotechnology Center, to join in felicitation, and I request all the esteemed members in the dais to join me for felicitating our Honorable Vice Chancellor.
I thank IST Odisha section for creating such a wonderful moment. Moving on, listening to such a great length of roundtable discussion on RD in science and technology for higher education system, we have realized the integration of science and technology in higher education is crucial to drive innovation, producing knowledge and plethora of development in education.
On behalf of Fakir Mohan University and Government of Odisha, I thank all the dignitaries on the dais, and I think this was the most valuable session as far as research is concerned and research and development in science and technology is concerned. Most of the directors agreed on phone call to be here, and Professor Mahanti agreed to be here, which is a prestigious thing for us that we got the Bhatnagar Awadi, Professor Mahanti here. Professor Baral just arrived 2 days back, and when we contacted, he said that this is a nice program, I should be there, and we are grateful to you that you came here and delivered a beautiful lecture. I thank all the directors, of course our neighbor, Professor Dr. Suchendra. I hope we will be establishing a rapport with you, with the DRDO, the PXC particularly, and we had the degree physics and ballistic. Let us have a specialization in ballistic so that our students will be benefited out of it. We have MOU with SIFA, with JDSI, with CIFRI, and they are our partners, I should say, partners of knowledge. So we are really thankful to you for your nice deliberations and presence over here. I thank our mentor, Professor Madhumita Das, and my friend, Professor Ashish Mahanti, for being here and delivering so nicely, which is highly beneficial for the young researchers. Thank you very much.
An announcement, our next session will begin shortly. I am handing over to Dr. Smriti Padi to take over. Thank you.
So now it's time for lunch. So we'll resume the next session just after the lunch.